Hello, friends. It's Jay, and we are here with the Cornerstone Collective podcast. With me today is Gage Lee.
What up?
As well as Angus McLeod.
Hey.
And Javan Brown.
Hello.
Today we're jumping right in with this idea of the spirit of Christmas. And I want to jump up with this. You know, there's a lot of being said about Christmas and about all the traditions and whether or not they're pagan or not. But I wanted to give you a challenge personally if you're a listener today. And that is that during this Christmas season that you would make the focus of Christmas be Christ. And make all of the things that you're focused on be Christ-centered during this season. What does that mean? It means that I am for the idea of decorating a place and making it look festive. I'm for the idea of special things like gingerbread houses and cookies and you name it, going with the kids to special Christmas villages, all that stuff's super fun. But we want to bring it all the way back to the nativity and to the idea of Jesus coming and being the ultimate sacrifice for us. The whole purpose for us during this Christmas season is seeing Jesus as the center of that story and how he has come to us to be the holy sacrifice for all people for all time. It's the reason he came, and the way that he came, that both included the shepherds that were marginalized outside people, as well as the wise men who were magi and obviously someone of notoriety and wisdom and ruling class. Jesus comes for everybody. And so that's what we want to bring to you today and challenge you with that idea right up front, that's what I want to challenge you during this Christmas season, that you take a moment with your family. And even those that aren't believers, it could be a way to point the light towards them and to bring them into that narrative and have a moment where you read that narrative in the scripture and let it speak to you and let it speak to your family about the peace of God that's come to all of us. Amen?
Amen.
Hey, I want to jump in as well as with this idea. Angus, you were asking me this question about this the spirit of Christmas and about the thought process of Christmas. You want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So we just had in our household where Tessa, our youngest, is coming to that age where we had to make a decision. We came to a fork in the road with the big red man.
Oh yeah.
You know, because now she's starting to understand.
Should we give a precursor? We're going to
Yes.
talk about stuff that might crush hopes and dreams of young ones. So just be aware.
Yes. So something, but this is a conversation that I actually asked Pastor Jay if we could have, because as a young parent, I didn't know there was another way that you could go, and that we did the whole Santa thing, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, all of that stuff. And so now that we've come to the age of understanding, I guess, in our household with all of our kids, I would 100% do it differently. And it wasn't until I met you guys and started to talk with you about how you did Christmas that I was like, I didn't even know that was even a possibility or an option, right? Because everybody's doing the same thing.
Because the narrative, yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so while it's great for a time, what I was telling Pastor Jay before we came on is, the bigger you make the red man, the bigger his death is at the end.
Sure.
And so if you spend
That's
all of
interesting.
these, so the bigger you go with all of these things, the harder it is when you have to break the truth. And then as the kids start processing all of those years and all of those memories, and they realize, oh, wait a minute, it was all something else.
Sure.
And so what we intended to go one way actually ended up going another way. So I had just asked Pastor Jay if we could kind of talk about those differences of what they do versus what we do. Because again, as a parent, if I could have chosen and started off a different way, I would 100% choose the way that they do. And, we would make it obviously our own, but I love the idea of not having to maintain a lie, which is really what Santa comes down to. Is and we justified it by, it's helping them to believe in something unseen. Jesus does a pretty good job of that on his own. And,
Tell it.
So that's the older me speaking, but again, it was one of those things that I wish we had gone a different way.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and before we get into this idea of talking about Santa and whether or not our kids should believe in Santa, I'll say this. The reason for Christmas is Christ, as we just said. So the reason for Christmas is Christ. Without Christ at Christmas, it's a light show and a shopping sale.
Amen.
That's what Christmas is. So it's important for us to understand that there's a reason that we have the holiday around it. It's the reason that the church has celebrated Christ's arrival for all these years. There's an argument whether or not that was displaced another pagan holiday, which celebrated, the solstice or some other thing. I would say this from a Christ perspective, we're celebrating Jesus. and all the things are pointing towards Jesus.
That's it.
So I'm not anti-Santa. Actually, we've had Santa at our events for community events and stuff like that. Like as a character, obviously it's modeled off as someone who was serving as a church leader. As we look to Saint Nick, the reason he was sainted was because he was gone in early church as a cardinal, was serving those in need. He's giving to children, he's giving to families in need during that time. So that idea is really good. It's the canonization of Santa and all the mythic around him was actually created as a marketing ploy by Coca-Cola early in the 1930s. And that's what kind of cauterized him when the red and white and all those other things get built up around it. We're talking about Frosty, we're talking about Rudolph, we're talking about all the other things. And those are super fun. Like those are fun things to understand and why people would do that. But that's not been a thing in our family. So while our family watched Santa Claus 1 and 2 last night with my girls and my wife, we were hung out, it was fun. That's not what we believe at Christmas. It's not what we focus on. So something was modeled to me. I grew up as a pastor's kid. And so that has its own glass box kind of situation where people are always looking at you as an example and you kind of feel the pressure of that growing up as a kid. But one of the things that we didn't have to deal with was this whole idea of Santa. So we didn't ever really believe in Santa for Santa's sake. And that was weird for other people who did. I definitely was checked not to be the person that told kids that Santa wasn't real, because I definitely had done that at times. I think we got into that a little bit on the podcast in the past. But what it gave me, it was a modeling of how I grew up, is that Christmas was still super special. Is that we got to read and read the Christmas story and get to see that and understand its depth to us. And that was the focus for Christmas. So the songs, the lights, all the other things, the food, the activities, those were all a bonus to the reason that we celebrated Christmas.
Yeah, that's good.
So what we started doing whenever Celeste and I came to it was we had this conversation where we came to an agreement. Hey, for us, we're not going to talk about Santa and those kind of things. And we had friends that did, pastor friends that do, and I'm not anti that. But what we did was we chose to do where there's enough stuff within Scripture that is a miracle that you have to have faith to believe. And so for us, we're going to actually say, hey, this is what we believe about this, instead of introducing these other narratives. So what we started to do was focusing on that. And so we didn't talk about Santa. We didn't talk about the elf on the shelf. We didn't do all that stuff. Instead, we just talked about Jesus. And so it still enabled us to talk about who Santa was and about, what it was based off of, and why St. Nick did what he did is because he's motivated by the love of Christ, and that's why he went and served others. And that's what we decided to do. And then we also, early on, we got away from the idea of it was just about gifts. And we started doing in our narrative, which was we started doing Advent. And so Advent was a focus on the arrival of Christ. And so we used the 25 days of Christmas kind of calendars you see, the Advent calendar, and we used that as a breakdown where it was twofold. One, it worked really well because it wasn't all about a big pile of gifts on one day,
right?
Which is helpful. Maybe a little bit, the kids probably aren't too stoked that they don't get like a big pile of gifts on one day. But for us as parents, it spread gifts out. It also made highlights of doing things as a family on the equal of getting a gift. So we're going to go and make gingerbread houses today. We're going to go and look at Christmas lights today. We're going to go do this service project today. And it made a big difference where those things are also part of Advent. That's part of what we're doing. And so it made a big change. So each day, the idea would be that kids would pull from that day. So today's the 21st. We're going to pull from the 21st and see what the card says. And the card might be gift. It might be activity. It could be whatever. And that idea is that we're doing something together. And so the reason we started doing gifts that way and not just on, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day is because there was nobody delivering gifts. So we didn't have to worry about that. We didn't have to wait for him to arrive because we're the ones that gave the gifts, or the parents gave and grandparents gave the gifts. And then as missionaries, when we lived across the world, when we didn't have a lot of resources, it was already good that we did this while we both had jobs and lived in America, because the same theme came true, is that we didn't have money to give the big lavish gift. But what we did is that it made everything special. And so we would rather have a special gift or have a special time than necessarily just a big pile of gifts. Also, the benefit was that grandparents who maybe weren't close to us because they're living across the world from us, they would send presents ahead or ask us to pick up a present on their behalf. And then now they had a special day for their present, which was different than just, the best gift winning out on Christmas morning, which is always going to be the best gift, like whatever that is the kid is into.
Yeah.
And so that's the way we did it. So that meant that, maybe the grandparents got theirs that week. Maybe it was on the 21st, or maybe it was the 23rd, or maybe it was earlier in the month on the 15th. But that day, that was the gift they got. So the kids are pumped because that was the thing they had. So they got to play with that thing, and it made it special. We do a video of it. have them thank their grandparent or their aunt or uncle or whoever gave it to them. And man, what a cool thing to celebrate. So it got it away from just a pile of gifts, and it got into more of the reason why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's great. And so just a quick question, because we have the benefit of that. I'm going to ask Javan.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, having the experience that you had, do you feel like you missed out not having Santa in the traditional way? Like, when you have kids, do you think that you'll go more the way you grew up, or do you think you'll go, nah, let's do the Santa thing? I'm just curious what your perception is.
I think Advent, the way that we did it, was definitely what I would prefer doing if I were a parent. I just think the idea of maintaining Santa, and I don't really feel like Santa's pushed all that much nowadays. Like, people kind of understand that their parents are the one giving gifts. Maybe within some families they try to keep that tradition alive, but I mean, like, now it feels as if everybody kind of learns by the age of like 5 that Santa's not there, and then they just kind of maintain it for the sake of Christmas spirit, or like the idea of like the shopping ploy or like marketing. So Santa, within the sense of like American traditionalism of how we celebrate the holiday, has been embedded within that, like the culture around it. But I don't think Santa has an actual tradition of like, oh, Santa gave you all these gifts is really all that pushed anymore, at least within the upcoming generation. Like, everybody's way too knowledgeable about that. And there's so many videos out there of like Santa kind of just like, or parents dressing up as Santa and like pranking their kids that 5-year-olds could easily stumble upon on like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, that they'd be like, oh, so Santa's not real. So I don't think there's any point in really doing that. And I prefer the way that we did it Advent-wise, where you kind of space everything out and point it back towards Christ, because I mean, that is what the season's about. And yeah, I think it makes it more of a family focus rather than like all the anticipation leading to one day. And I feel like, yeah, I would prefer doing it that way as well.
I think you're a little off on timing coming from a parental perspective, meaning though, even though you were the one that was 5 trying to tell people Santa wasn't real, I think that other people will believe it for a lot longer.
Oh, 100%. So Tessa, she's 10, she's in 5th grade. And again, the reason that we came to have the truth on all the mythical creatures was because of the tooth fairy, right? So what ended up happening was the way we do the tooth fairy, and we may have mentioned this before, is that it's $1 for a cavity-free tooth, $2 for a cavity-free tooth, $1. But then you've got these parents who give $10, $15, $20 per tooth. Yeah, right. And, and so because of that,
tooth
we had to tell her, it's not that tooth fairy doesn't love you, it's that they have fewer kids. And, they're in technology, and your mom's a teacher and I'm a pastor.
Exactly right.
They live on the north side.
But, so like even for Tessa, when we told her about the tooth fairy, it was an entire day process of her like going into her mind and shining light on all those things. She's like, okay, so if the tooth fairy, what about Santa Claus? Like, okay, do you want,
buckle up, sweetheart.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And then we had to start doing that, because what you don't think, like, that's 10 years of memories and lies basically that have been built up, to sustain and keep this whole thing perpetuated. And then you see it across families too. And so you guys are definitely in the minority, but like when you guys first came back, Amelia and Shiloh had not understood that, we're not going to shatter everybody's dreams. So my kids came home several times. They're like, Mom, this is what Amelia and Shiloh said. And we're like, okay. And then what we had to do is we had to maintain, and so we had to fight their truth with another lie. Sure. And so it was one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, so, but this is what we know about the sin of lies. And once you start it, you have to do other ones to cover and cover and cover. And so it builds up. And while it's not malicious or anything like that, it's one of those that in general you'd say is pretty benign. Yeah. But man, watching Tessa, as I watched her grow up over one day, as so much of this childhood magic, you could watch it leave her eyes, and I think that there's still so much magic of Christmas and all of that when it's tied to Christ, that you don't, if you fill up that side and then you fill up the pitcher full of Santa, well, eventually that's going to get poured out into what? Like all the time and energy that you spent in cultivating this mythical thing, when you could have been cultivating a true understanding of what the season is really about.
For
And not
sure.
that you can't do both,
Yeah.
but it's a divided focus.
And I'll say this, and we'll go into Gage because I want to ask him because he's got young kids too. One of the things I found was interesting about that was you had two benefits that you didn't really think of. One was, I'm not telling the kid to behave because Santa's going to watch them. I'm telling them just to behave because that's what good character is.
Right.
So that was the first thing that was a real win. Second was, we got credit for the gifts we gave them.
Yeah.
And that's, from a parental perspective, like you've done energy, you've done all this other stuff. It reminds me of your story with your mom. It's like, hey, did you like the helmet I got you or the pads or whatever?
Yep.
And she's like, she wanted you to be like, yeah, I like the thing you got me. Like she spent time and energy and your wants and was talking to
Yeah,
you.
she wanted the gratification.
Correct. Instead of someone else got the credit for it.
Sure.
So what's been your take? I know like you guys probably take a different way.
So it's been really difficult, right? So we have 3 boys. Youngest, he don't know, he don't care.
Hey, baby.
The 3-year-old, he likes the concept of gifts, right? And I think he's leaning a lot into what his older brother, who is 7, what he pushes, right? His thoughts, his ideas. He's 3-year-old's kind of a sponge right now. It's hard because our 7-year-old stays with his dad 50% of the time.
Shared parenting, yeah.
So they push like Elf on the Shelf and Santa really hard.
Right. They're not Christ followers.
Correct.
This is the magic they get.
Yeah, and even if they are, they don't live it to the extent of what we've been talking about.
Right.
Which, not knocking it whatsoever. It's just not where I feel as though my wife and I are at in our walk and what we want to share with our boys.
Sure.
So one of the things that we've been going through, right, is the Elf on the Shelf thing.
Right.
That's a big one over at his dad's house.
Yeah, sure.
And we had got one before we had started walking out our life with Christ. And so we don't want to keep it to where like, he named the one at our house So-So. We don't want to make it to where So-So's just like gone while the one at his dad's house is still coming back every day.
Running around.
Yeah, like So-So fell off somewhere over the Atlantic. Like we don't want to play that card. But at the same time, like I'll throw out little stuff and I feel so bad afterwards. But like it's just like my heart is in this place of like, I don't want to keep lying to him.
Of course.
I don't want to keep telling him these false narratives like where, this is. So the question was, the thing that came up was my wife had put So-So in the fridge and wrote a little note that said, "Oh my goodness, it's so cold in here."
Right.
And,
which is hilarious. That's fun.
Yeah, and Carson was like, "Oh no, he's cold. We got to get him out of there." I was like, "Yeah, but Carson, don't you think it'd be colder in the North Pole where he goes every day?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, and it's probably really cold when he's flying back and forth too, huh? I wonder why he's saying he's so cold in here." But he goes back and forth every day.
So you're undermining your own process.
And like, I want, part of me wants my kid to question these things, right? So like, he'll come up to me one day and be like, "Hey, something's funky here. I can be like, well, let's call your dad. We'll talk about this with him together."
Sure.
But at the same time, so I love the concept of, giving these kids these like this day of grandeur, like all these different fun things.
Yeah, sure.
I also totally understand and respect the Advent side of it.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd fall if, we had, and it's not that we don't have control to be able to do these things. We just don't want to undermine the other side of his life.
You're collaborative for sure.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
and being collaborative with one in turn makes it collaborative with the 3.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because we can't separate the 2. Right. One of the things that I've also found is like, touching on what you were saying earlier about how these kids come to recognize this at a younger age. I do kind of follow in step with him because I think there's the doubt.
Yeah.
Right. There's the questions, but there's also this sense of like, well, it can't be because kids everywhere are getting these gifts on Christmas, right? So like they're clinging to the small threads of like it's a possibility.
Right.
Whereas they may understand, maybe not full well, but to an extent that like this isn't real. Santa's not real. He's not actually hitting every single house one night throughout the entire year. And there's not really a giant workshop, but like I'm getting these gifts and it's a fun day. So like I'm going to cling to the small senses of fun. I mean, we've talked about it before, like that those things that they're clinging to for hope and for faith, those are the things that we want to give to Christ, right? Those are the things that we find in Christ. And Christ isn't a fairy tale.
Correct.
Christ isn't just some fun story where, he brings presents. He brings gifts of the Spirit every day, all year long.
Life change, character change.
Right. All these different things. And I don't want my kids to question how true that is because of how big and grandiose Santa Claus was, but he was all just a facade.
For sure.
So that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
I want to give my kids this fun Christmas,
Yeah.
but I know I could do it without Santa Claus.
For sure. And let me encourage you in this, wherever you are on that path, excuse me, wherever you are on that path in with your kids, if it's Santa, if it's Elf on the Shelf or whatever, it's totally fine. The idea is for you to be someone who's consistent in your character of Christ and to being someone who focuses them towards Christ at Christmas. Doesn't mean you couldn't do the fun things with Santa or the fun things with other stuff. And, I know people that go for the train ride and it's like, the Polar Express and stuff. It's super fun, man.
We just did that.
Yeah, there's some fun
Whole
stuff
lot of fun.
with that. Yeah, there's some fun things with that. But I would encourage you that you make the major focus, not Santa, not the Elf on the Shelf. Those are all fun. Those are great. But that you make it Jesus. And so that's been my major focus, I think, for the Christmas season. And my encouragement to you, wherever you are.
It's good.
Amen.
Different strokes for different folks, right?
It's for sure. Hey, in that way, let's talk about this. There's something that actually you guys do that is something that we've done as well, whereas we would actually scale back on the level of gift, meaning like we wouldn't spend hundreds of dollars per gift for the kids, but we would give something that they liked and something that they wanted within our reach when we're going to go into debt and put money on a credit card, et cetera, et cetera. So we do that. And then we would take part of our money and actually make that be more about going and doing something like a memory. Yeah. And you guys have done that really well. Memory Christmas.
Yeah. So that's several years ago. I realized that we're just on this ridiculous treadmill of gifts that come into your house. So here's this idea that other people, they buy gifts for your house not knowing where it's going to live.
Right.
And so now you've got all of these homeless toys that come into your house that now you get to fight with your children for the next year on where they get to live.
Yeah. Right.
And then their toys fight for space and all of this stuff. And I'm like, why are we doing this? We get one day where they're excited about these toys, and then we fight for them until the toys leave the house.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. So I was like, why not just go and spend our funds and our time and all effort on something that doesn't necessarily bring something into the house, and that's memories.
Yeah.
You know, and so we just offered it up one year, and we said, instead of buying all the gifts and stuff, the money that we would spend, we go and we're going to go do something. Mm-hmm. And so what we typically do is towards the end of the summer, as we start to look towards the year, and just say, okay, guys, do you want to do a memory Christmas or do you want to do a gift Christmas? Mm-hmm. And I think every year since, they've said that they want a memory Christmas, and that's what we do. Is we'll use like credit card points to go and stay someplace inexpensive, and then we'll spend the time making memories and playing games and all of that stuff. And so that's what we're going to be doing this Christmas. And it's been wonderful. I love it. It's so much nicer. And so we'll still get them. So we would have to do the one Santa gift. So we'd give them a small one. But then on Christmas, what we do is we just wrap up the gifts that they need for the next semester. Yeah. So like in their stockings, they'll get toothpaste and deodorant and and they'll get some fun stuff too. Sure. But we'll wrap up their pants for the next semester.
I'll be honest, socks were my least favorite gift for like my childhood, right? It was like, oh, you got some pants. All right, cool. Where's the stuff I can like go outside and ride?
Right. And so like they still get the dopamine hit of opening something, but they understand that this is not it, right?
Sure.
So they're still getting something.
Yeah.
They're still getting the
100%.
But they know that the focus is somewhere else, and so that really it maximizes what we can do.
One of the things that really stuck with me the last time you were talking about this was, you had used, I think, the same treadmill reference, but it was in the sense of, okay, the toys that I'm bringing in, I need to make space for these toys.
Right.
So the toys that I bought them 2 years ago that they don't even touch anymore,
Christmas purchase,
I'm going to take those away just for somewhere this year, them to stop using the toys I just spent all this money on.
Right.
So it's this revolving door of like, I'm bringing this in and pushing this out just so I can spend more money to bring this in, because they're going to stop playing with all these things halfway through the year. Sometimes, like with me, it was so difficult when I was a kid because my parents are like, we give you these things that you ask for and you play with them for half a day and then you never touch them again.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of the business of Christmas.
Well, and what I started to do is look at just like tech companies do. It's all about dopamine hits.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So if they're going to get 10 hits of dopamine in the day, why not spread like the Browns do? Why not spread out that dopamine over 10 days and give them one gift over 10 days?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the same thing with giving your wife a rose. You can give her one rose over 12 days, or you can give her 12 roses,
right,
which is going to give you the most benefit, right?
Sure.
And so if they're still going to get the same hits, they're still
Especially
gonna,
you're wearing the outfits you're wearing when you give her roses.
right? Absolutely,
absolutely.
the hats and everything.
Yeah.
Come on.
But that's the thing is like if it's one or you're not just taking anything, you're not denying them anything, you're just giving it to them in a different delivery method.
Yeah.
And so they can still come away with the exact same experience, but you don't have to set yourself up for a year of pain.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll double back on this memory idea, because this is something that obviously is huge. But to Javan, so Javan is in college. Obviously, he's grown up in our house with Celeste and I. You know, we both served internationally before we got married, and then as a family, he grew up obviously overseas. So he grew up in France when he was a little kid, and then into like elementary and junior high in Egypt, and so that was a unique thing for him. But I guess the question to you, Bud, is like, for you, what was your highlights for Christmas? Was it more what you got, or was it what we did?
Man, honestly, I don't even remember too much about Christmas overseas. I kind of just remember it was like a cool day. I think it's like the anticipation leading up to the day was more exciting than the actual day for us. Like I would get some cool stuff, and I enjoyed getting like a soccer jersey or like a pair of cleats. But besides that, I mean, I don't really remember doing a whole lot around the Christmas season. Like, I think the only real memories I have are when Nana came over for Christmas that one time.
Yep.
And then when our grandparents came over for Christmas in Egypt. And I think that, from the sense of like a memory perspective, is like way better and more memorable for me as a kid than it is for the gifts. Because like, if you asked me to name one thing I got for Christmas, like from that time, I could maybe name like 5 things. And that's over a total of like 10 years of when we were gone.
Sure.
Whereas like, now I could think all the way back to like when I was 3 or 4, and then my grandma came and visited me from like 7,000 miles away, which is so cool. So I think, that's definitely like a better way to do it. I mean, even for me, like I was just in Disneyland for like the last 2 days, and I'm gonna remember that for a whole lot longer than anything else if I would have just been like, oh yeah, I don't know, I'll save this money and like try to buy something else. Like that thing will eventually fade away, but that memory with all those people that I just went with will be there forever. So yeah, definitely memories over gifts. And I think the sooner that you can make kids realize that, the more excited and the more fun they'll have during that Christmas season.
Yeah, like where do we go? Where do we go last Christmas, last New Year's? Where do we go last Christmas? Like right after Christmas, we took off and went somewhere as a family. Do you remember where we went?
No, I remember we were in Tucson like 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. Then last year?
I don't know. I'm blanking.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm
okay.
Wait, hold on.
We went up to Utah. And we were
that's right. Yeah, we did go play golf. It's been a
pretty
long
crazy
year. It's been a long year.
Been a crazy year.
Yeah.
But the idea is that we went up to somewhere where we hadn't been and had like a good experience. We went through Vegas, saw the Sphere, and then we went up and spent most of our time in Utah.
Yeah, that was fun.
And hung out there.
So cool.
Doing all that kind of stuff. Good chance to connect with your mom, with their
You guys
family.
were golfing up there too, right?
Yeah, we played golf and hung out, and it was like bucket list places to go. It was super fun, and that was like we spent some money there, and even the gifts that we got were more focused on this thing we're gonna go do, which was really super fun. So it kind of tied together of like, okay, this is why we're going this direction, just to have those memories, and kind of what, to Angus's point, having something that's like something you remember, it can't get taken from you, can't rot and go get outsized, or you outgrow it, because it's your memory.
Yeah, I had a really cool interaction with a guy recently who, the question always is, hey, are you ready for Christmas? And I said, yeah, I think, we're pretty good. I said, how about you? He goes, oh man, no way. He goes, I'm trying to figure out how to buy presents for all my kids. He's like, I got 5 kids, and it's tight this year and this and that. And I said, well, hey man,
that sucks.
I said, I get all that. I said, here's what we do as a family. And I just shared with him real briefly the memory Christmas. I was like, that way you don't have to worry about each person getting something that they love at the $20 mark or whatever.
Right.
You just spend that money on one experience, and everybody gets from it what they decide to take from it. And he goes, dude, that's genius. He's like, I'm going to talk to my wife tonight about doing that. He's like,
that's cool.
That changes Christmas.
Yeah.
And so again, because we've been told this is how you do it, we just go through some of these motions, and it's so painful.
Well,
Yeah, it definitely can be.
because we do things that way anyway, and because the focus for us is Christ at Christmas, we mostly focus on our church services and having those moments with our community of faith. A lot of that is interesting because we've moved a lot of our travel back and forth down, like my wife's family, and they're all connected down in Casa Grande, which is not that far from Phoenix. It's only an hour and change of drive, but it's that back and forth of having to do a bunch of things at Christmas time. And because, family's complicated and not everybody has the same parents, it was easier for us to actually move off of Christmas and have a Christmas family party that's early. And then it's the pressure's off of you. Everybody comes, they're all hanging out. And it's fun. You have actually a higher percentage of participation because we moved it away from the day and made it more about the being together as a family. Yeah.
Well, see, and that's kind of how I feel about Christmas in general, as it pertains to the argument of it being an appropriated holiday from the pagan things. Just because in our family, like we've covered before, because of our schedule, we can very rarely celebrate a birthday on a birthday.
Right.
So for us, it makes sense that even though we know scripturally Jesus was probably born closer to September, for us, it doesn't, for our family, it's not a big deal. It's like we're celebrating Jesus. You can celebrate it in July, you can celebrate it in September, you can celebrate it in December.
Yeah.
And there's an argument there because some people are September, some people say it's March, some people say it's in December. So there's been variations of that too for the argument. But in reality, it's like, hey, you had a 1 out of 365 chance to be on the day for Jesus. The more important part is that we're celebrating Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how I
this
really
holiday
feel about
isn't an Asherah pole, right? That we're worshiping as a false sense of like who we could take any day that anybody celebrates for anything. And as long as we're appropriating it and making the our intention behind it of worshiping, celebrating, and being grateful to Christ and what he's done for us and the gift that God gave us in Christ, then there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Doesn't matter who started it.
Yeah.
None of it.
I love Jesus on October 31st, and it doesn't have to be the Satan's day or anything like that, because we're going to redeem it and live for Jesus. So, absolutely.
Yeah, Halloween for Jesus. Come on.
100. Well, All Hallows Eve, right, is the whole reason it started. So I think as we keep it focused on that, I think it makes all the sense in the world. Now, we want to double back on something that we went through a podcast recently talking about Christmas movies. And we got lots of feedback about this, didn't we, Gage? All sorts of feedback.
Lots of feedback.
What kind of feedback did you get?
A lot of people were disappointed.
They were disagreeing with
Were
you.
they
Yes.
What were they disappointed in, Gage?
They were disappointed.
Who were they disappointed in, Gage?
Okay, all right. Let's break this down. So we were just talking about this not too long ago. I had to share this with some people when they said, I was so disappointed in the choices you made or how you felt about these things. How you felt about these things hurt me, Gage.
That's hilarious.
What'd I do? I said, hey, Carson, what's rule number 2? Get out of your feelings and get into your bag,
Get into
man.
your bag.
Okay?
That's
you
it.
know what I'm saying? Get out of your feelings, people. Don't worry about what I'm choosing. Worry about what you're choosing.
That's hilarious.
No, so
I'll say this. We were passing out flyers this week for the church. And, dude, I'm re-listening to the podcast. So it goes live with the podcast. Hilarious. And you said, hot take. You were like, oh, Bad Santa is more prolific than Frosty the Snowman. And I'm walking. There are Frosty Snowmans in everybody's yard, bro. I have yet to see a Bad Santa.
You just haven't been to my parents' house. You haven't been inside of my parents' house.
across the street.
Yeah, but you ain't been inside, dog.
So many times.
Oh, my God.
I gotta find. It's so hard for me to find a way to stand on this too. You know what I mean? I think the reason why
take. I love it.
It's great because like I didn't grow up with Frosty inside my house, right?
Of course, yeah, I get it.
But like Badder Santa and Bad Santa were on repeat in my house, along
totally
with like
get it.
National Lampoon,
And
like,
that
all
makes
these
sense.
things.
Yeah.
So like when I think about it in my life,
Right.
it's been more prominent for Badder Santa than it has been for Frosty the Snowman. And then I step outside of that, I'm like, big picture. I've never heard them sing a song from Bad Santa at a Christmas play at my kid's school, but Frosty the Snowman seems to be pretty consistent. You know what I mean?
It's still clipping pretty high.
Oh, man.
Dude, I was dying.
So hard for me to stand by that.
I was like, everywhere we went. I mean, we were passing out hundreds of flyers, dude. You were all over neighborhoods. I'm dying laughing just thinking about it. It kept playing back in my head. You're like,
every time you see a Frosty the Snowman, yeah, whatever.
And you were hard in the paint anti-Home Alone without having never seen Home Alone.
That's a fact. You can't miss what you've never had.
Bro, you need to engage with it. You need to embrace it.
We were just talking about it. I looked, I think either this morning or yesterday for Home Alone, and I have like Paramount and Amazon, stuff like that.
It's on Disney Plus.
You have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's on Disney.
Oh, it's on Disney?
It's on Disney, yeah.
I have Disney, and I didn't check
No,
Disney.
it's on there. Yeah.
All right, so here, we'll do it like this. Next time we have a podcast,
Yeah.
I will tell you how I feel about Home Alone.
Are you going to watch it?
I will watch it.
You need to watch 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You got to watch them
Really?
both. Yeah, it's good.
Don't worry about the ones after that.
Nah, the other ones don't
1
count.
and 2.
Just 1 and 2.
Can I just watch one and tell you, how I feel about that?
After
but
you watch
2
one,
is
you'll
good.
probably
I'll want to watch
I think
two.
you'll want to watch 2.
There's enough innocent violence in it that you'll like these movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll say this. So what I was going to tie back to was that you were like, nobody thinks this is popular. Here's the deal. At the Plaza Hotel in New York, which is
$350 for that Sunday.
that's right. I sent
saw
it to
that.
you.
Yeah.
And now it's $350 for the Sunday he eats in the movie in the second Home Alone. So the one that's in New York, he eats a Sunday. They sell that. You can order it whenever you stay
Room
there.
service, yeah.
Room service. $350 is how much it costs for that Sunday. It has like 14 scoops of ice cream, some crazy number.
It's like everything but the kitchen sink type of a Sunday. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. You can get all the different pieces, all the different stuff. It's absolutely crazy.
That's correct.
Now, how many people are actually buying that Sunday?
I think they do it. I mean, if you're staying at Plaza,
There it is.
You're not worried about it.
There
It'd
it
be
is.
a memory.
Yeah,
See,
that's true. That's true.
Like, could you remember?
But it's also almost the price of an Xbox once you put
I would
maturity
remember-
in there.
100%.
I would definitely remember staying at the Plaza and having that Sunday.
That's true.
I would
That's a good
definitely
point.
remember that.
Yeah, that'd be fire. That'd be
I mean,
really
think
fire.
about that as a kid.
Oh, dude.
You know,
Watching Home Alone 2 and then sitting in the Plaza eating a Sunday.
Oh, dude, you're pumped.
You're
up.
probably having some crazy experiences in
100%.
life
You get a
if you're a
cheese
kid
pizza
staying
for 'em
at
and
the
it's-
Plaza.
In a limo?
100%.
To go to FAO Swartz or
There you
like
go.
one of the big toy stores,
Oh.
Macy's, go see the windows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
rad. Super cool.
So cool.
That would be very, very cool.
I'll tell you this, my kids probably ain't going to have that Sunday.
Nope.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll pitch in $20 if you want to go to take
There we go. There we go. We're on a roll.
You're $330 away, minus tax and gratuity.
The gratuities what kills you.
Gratuity would be
Don't
like-
forget about the Plaza stay.
Yeah, the Plaza is the thing. I don't know if you can order it just sitting in the lobby.
Bro, let's do it like this. You get the room, I'll get the Sunday.
Oh, dude.
Is that fair?
I'm going to be way out.
I feel like that's fair. I'll even get the gratuity.
To run our families together, we're
Yeah,
going to have
bro.
some like mega.
You could stay in that. You could stay in that suite that they stayed in.
I'm sure.
Home Alone too.
I'm sure it would be very inexpensive.
Yeah, we'll just take out a
Multiple
second mortgage.
tiers. Exactly right. Crazy. Hey, that idea. We want to come to a bracket today. The bracket that we're running today is what is the best Christmas decoration. So we're going Christmas decorations. Give
It's
it a
definitely not
breakdown.
Frosty the Snowman.
Well, we're going to find out. So here's the first thing. So we're running this thing, trying to get a breakdown for which one's the most important Christmas decoration. I think Christmas decoration's fun. We live in Phoenix. Up north, just a couple hours away, or to the east of us, you can go up. It's wintry, like wonderland, beautiful pine trees and oak trees and covered in snow and lights. It's beautiful. It looks like the way you'd think. But we live in the desert, man. We don't have any of the natural stuff here. It's like palm trees and cactus. So we have to kind of fake it. Most of us are wearing shorts or short sleeve shirts this week outside. It's not cold. So we get that. We have like kind of the same experience as South America or like Australia or somewhere like that, that summer's, summer is, Christmas is in summertime.
Yeah.
So we're not too far away, but we don't get all that. But a lot of it is conveyed through decoration. So some of the stuff we want to talk about today. So we'll jump into it. All right. First one that's on the chopping block, Christmas tree or mistletoe.
Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
All the way.
Javo?
Yeah, Christmas tree.
Man, do you guys not understand what mistletoe can do in your favor?
Oh, I got mistletoed on the Polar Express this past weekend. I love the mistletoe.
Ooh, hey.
I love the mistletoe.
There it is.
Yeah, I just wish my father-in-law brushed his teeth first. You know what I mean?
Yikes.
I'm kidding. All right.
Yikes. Shout out.
Shouts out, Papa Dave.
Shout out to him. All right, Christmas tree. Obviously, that's a clear winner. It's going to be like rank 1. All right, next one here. Stocking versus snow globe.
Stocking.
You guys going stocking? Stocking? Javan?
Yeah, stocking.
Man, I think snow globe has kind of lost its luster a little bit. Did you guys ever have a good snow globe that wasn't just plastic?
Yeah,
Something-
we have some good snow globes, but all they do is sit around and collect dust.
I also feel like snow globes aren't super like Christmas centered.
Okay.
Like you can stop in a souvenir shop all over the world and get snow globes for different things.
Okay.
But like you aren't going to get a stocking for anything except Christmas. True.
Oh, that's interesting. I would think that you would get snow globes because it's part of your Christmas decoration like collection. I guess I just thought that
interesting.
other things got like appropriated into Christmas by snow globes. So, I'm a huge fan of whatever racing.
Yeah.
So therefore, I have my favorite race car driver is inside the snow globe, but it's part of my
For
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I can see that.
Interesting. Jabo, take on that. You said stocking.
Just in general.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like a snow globe
for decoration.
Nobody my age is gonna have a snow globe, and I think that's just like flat out how it is. Like,
Oh no, I think that's an overgeneralization.
no, I think that's pretty like nobody my age is gonna have a snow globe. Like,
I'm gonna go on a hunt. I'm gonna find one.
Hot take.
yeah, but you find like one in maybe 1,000 people that have it.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So I don't know.
So you're
get it.
saying you want me to take back the snow globe I got you for Christmas?
Dang!
I mean, hey, we'll see what the snow globe is first.
Or was it
We'll
in
make
your stocking? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, probably.
So
funny.
I grew up where we didn't really have stockings growing up. Like we didn't do the stocking thing, like
Okay.
which is kind of like bonus gifts or small gifts, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really a thing. Whereas my cousins, they got like awesome stuff in their stocking. Their stocking was like more dope than their actual Christmas gift sometimes because they get like all sorts of gift cards and like pocket knife and like a bunch of cool stuff inside there, like candy and whatever. It wasn't just like an orange and apple and a bunch of like walnuts or something. They didn't get that version. They got like dope, amazing things in there. So they were pumped up and they would do their stocking on Christmas Eve. And so, which I was like, I thought Santa did your stuff. Anyway, I didn't want to get
Bro,
into all that.
who the heck is putting walnuts in kids' stockings?
Oh, this was the original thing. Was that was a big deal because the original whole thing with pawn shops, you'll see, is like some of that signaling of people used to put out their shoes outside because to keep them clean, and then people would go by and would fill their shoes with things that were valuable. So that's why bad kids still got coal. Coal would keep you warm. So it was still a gift to you. It just wasn't one that was like super fun, like a toy. So the reason like, bad kids get coal. Well, Santa's still giving you something. He's giving you warmth and care. So it wasn't that he didn't give you something like seeing where like people nowadays, because we're not warmed by coal. We don't have a value.
Right.
But we were talking about with the girls, how on the Muppet Christmas Carol, it's everybody that works in Scrooge's office aside from Kermit the Frog is all a rat. And so all the rats are like the little scribes and they're like in writing. And they're like, please, sir, it's so cold. We're becoming like icicles. And he's like, maybe it'd be warmer on the unemployment line. And then they're like, heat wave. It was an island in the sun. And they're wearing like island apparel.
That's funny.
Which is pretty great. And so it's like that thing was like they were asking for coal because they wanted to stay warm. So I think for us, it's just that departure of the whole concept. So it was like we didn't have any concept of stockings at all.
On that, I shared with somebody this weekend that my theory, the reason that evil is so prevalent in the world is actually Santa's fault.
Okay, why?
Well, think about it. What do bad kids get?
Coal.
Coal.
Yeah.
During the coldest time of the year.
Right.
What do the good kids get? It's not going to keep you warm, whatever it is. So the good kids all die out.
Oh, no.
And the bad kids are stuck around to have more kids.
They're thriving.
I'm telling you, Santa is the one
warm and
who's
safe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
he's perpetuated evil in this world.
All right, we're going to move stocking forward
Shame
over
on
snow
you,
globe.
Santa.
Shame. It's a shame. No, stocking's fine. All right, snowman. It doesn't say bad Santa. It says snowman. Snowman versus Garland. Javen, what do you think, man? Snowman versus Garland.
Snowman.
Snowman?
Yeah.
Bad Santa. For sure. Yeah,
I'm going to go
have to
snowman
go
too.
snowman.
Have you guys ever made a snowman?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Where'd you make it?
I was like a young teen. It was up in Flagstaff.
Okay, sick.
Yeah, it wasn't beautiful. I didn't have a corn cob pipe. Didn't have little buttons for his eyes or anything like that. Carrot for his nose. It was just kind of like ragtag.
Yeah.
A little lopsided.
Probably not very
But
pure
I made
snow. Probably kind of gross snow.
Dark. Dark. Yeah. Like charcoal snow.
Full of gravel.
Is that a thing? Like pre-trampled
gravel.
snow?
Gravel.
Yeah.
Like
Road.
dead grass.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Javen, have you ever made one? I don't even think. I don't know.
I mean, maybe in France. That's
Yeah,
good.
when
That
you're
could be
little,
the
yeah.
only time I think of.
Yeah,
but
we made stuff like that when you were little. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember
That's
that.
cool.
I was probably not big enough to assist in any of that. Maybe you had me put like a carrot on the snowman or something. but
Yeah, we'd get
that's
you in there a
about
little
all I
bit.
remember. Yeah.
When we lived in France, it was like unseasonably cold. It was very, very cold. So tons of snow. And people were like, oh, it's not like this normally. It was so snowy for the years we lived there that they had to get a snowplow for our little town just outside Paris. It's crazy. I mean, we would snowboard down the streets, like, because we were on a hill outside of the river, the Seine. And so we were on, everything's like a gradient down. So I could snowboard the streets. Down our driveway was on a slant. So actually, it was so much snow on our driveway, it was 6 to a foot high. I would take Javan and just make a slide. So we were just pushing him on a snowboard, man, just right down our drive. And it was really, really long. So because we kind of lived down the hill behind someone in a small little house. And so we pushed him down there, and he was pumped up. He's like, do it again, Dad.
That's
all
money.
this stuff.
Money.
So it was pretty fun. That was always a good thing. So, all right, snowman over garland. All right, nutcracker versus nativity set.
I feel like we have to go nativity.
I mean, yeah, Javan.
Yeah, I think if you don't go nativity, your membership at Cornerstone Christian Center might be questioned. So
Your spiritual membership is
exactly.
revoked.
So
It's like, how do you feel about nutcrackers versus nativity set? I gotta weigh
That's
in.
got to be one of the questions on the application for membership.
Yeah,
the new one.
I'm saying. But see, it's funny
Subsection
too, though, because
Christmas.
like I didn't really grow up with the nativity being
Yeah,
a
in
big
your life.
center.
Right, sure.
Right, but everywhere was playing the nutcracker around
That's
Christmas.
true, yeah.
And my grandparents did have nutcrackers laying all around the house come Christmas time.
Really?
Yeah, so
Did
like
they use them as an actual nutcracker?
I think my great grandmother did.
Okay.
But nobody else really did.
I think that's also tied to the walnut thing because they would actually use the nutcracker to
Okay, I could see
or
how that ties
pecans
in.
or something.
Yeah, cool.
And use it to break those. So that was a big deal. I know we actually had ones that
Full
we
circle.
would use at my grandma's house, like growing up.
Really?
Yeah. Actual, like the ones for decoration, and then you actually had the functional ones where their actual mouth was really used for that reason.
Yeah, it was weird. Like my great grandmother had so many like decorations around the house that were like had purpose.
Yeah.
So like she had tons of like gardening stuff that was around the house, but like she had a big garden in the back that she tended every day.
Cool.
And then she had like the cotton separator and roller.
Oh, wow.
Like on one of the dining room tables, and like there'd be cotton in a bowl, and you could just
No kidding.
roll it out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That is cool. It's a
And
lot
she
of
had the
functionality.
nutcracker over in the corner, and then like a bowl next to it with like walnuts.
Yep.
And then had like the OG bowl with like some butterscotch candies. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Come on. That's
Yeah,
Grandmaville
that was
right
a
there.
gangster house, bro. She used to go and pick Granny Smith apples out of the tree and make me fresh homemade Granny Smith apple pies. Whoa. Stuff like that. Super cool. I love
sounds
that. I love
awesome.
that lady.
We need to sign up for that. Is that still going on?
No, she passed away a while ago.
The Lord be praised.
That's
Be with
right.
her. Okay, this goes to the next one. So we're gonna move nativity set through. I will say Nutcracker's cool. Even like we went and saw the Nutcracker ballet like this year, and we've seen it played before in symphonies or something, or have seen the ballerinas do their deal. Super cool, very very cool story in that whole narrative, but definitely nativity set over Nutcracker. So, all right, next one's up: Santa Claus versus inflatables.
Is it bad, Santa?
No, it's not bad. Just the normal Santa. Remember, this is decoration. Best
Oh, 10-4,
decoration.
10-4.
So Santa Claus or an inflatable?
Inflatable.
Santa.
Going inflatable, Javan? Santa. I'm also going to go inflatable. So we're going to have to go to a coin flip on this one.
What
The
about
reason-
inflatable Santa?
I think that's what it could be. It could be a Santa, but I saw some mega inflatables recently that I'm like, ooh, I like that.
My neighbor has like 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah, he's got like this it's probably close to like 15-foot tall snowman on the second floor patio.
Wow.
Over the lake. He's got a giant, I think, snowman in the front yard. It's probably like also 15.
Yep.
And then like a 20-foot plus tall Santa.
Dude, those
in
are
the front yard.
huge.
And he's got like a probably 5 or 6 foot tall nativity scene in the front.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean he's also the type of person that like hires out people to come out and put all of his lights up.
That's crazy.
But like he's to the
mega
nines. He's
inflatables.
to the nines on all the stuff that he does.
No kidding.
Yeah. Really cool setup.
We have the inflatables up. I have an elf, Buddy the Elf inflatable in the front yard. I have Christmas tree inflatable. A couple of those. We had some neighbors that have some big inflatables that move and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors is a big monster truck inflatable for Christmas. It's like hauling a Christmas tree somewhere. So I think you can have some fun stuff. All right, so coin flip, Santa Claus versus inflatable. What do we have in coin flip?
Oh, you want?
I'm going to say heads is Santa, tails is inflatable.
I'll say inflatable.
You're gonna switch?
Yeah, we can move it through.
Oh, okay.
We
We're
can
gonna
move it
to
through.
the
I like
You got outvoted. I'm sorry.
I like
Jack.
the diversity. I like the diversity of the inflatable.
I think naturally you might want to go Santa Claus, but I think having a Santa Claus also is crazy because where do you put him the rest of the year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got to go live somewhere in storage or something.
Yeah, but
and
where are you
just-
going to put the inflatable?
Yeah, but it
I
pulls
feel like
down
that's
into a tiny
Way
box.
smaller.
well, it depends on how big the Santa Claus is.
feel
I
like-
just think iconically,
Yeah.
like Santa Claus is far more iconic as a decoration during Christmas than an
Yeah.
inflatable. But strategically, like I feel though the diversity of the inflatable far outweighs the usefulness of the Santa Claus.
Okay,
I can
I'm
see
with
that.
you on that. And I think from a decoration standpoint, dude, inflatable wins all day because it's
Mm-hmm.
huge. Like I've never seen somebody have like a non-inflatable huge Santa like that I can think of that's more than head high.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
like a 10-foot tall
Yeah, like,
ceramic
where
Santa.
are you going to put that? You know,
Yeah.
he's like wood. Oh, we made him out of a redwood tree. And
Yeah.
we
He
have a
just sits in the
20-foot
living
Santa Claus.
room
Yeah.
all year long.
You set a place setting for him
I didn't know Santa was out here in July.
at the end of the table. That's right. All right, next one. Wreath versus gingerbread house for decoration.
For decoration or wreath?
Javen, we'll start with you. What do you think? Decoration.
Wreath.
Wreath.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely a wreath.
Can't eat a wreath though. Interesting.
Yeah, I'd say gingerbread house.
Okay, going the other way. Gage,
Wreath.
going wreath too. I'm gonna have to go wreath. Unfortunately, I wanted to go gingerbread house with Angus. I like the idea that you can make it and you can eat it and it's like disposable, goes away.
Fully customizable.
Fully love that, and it's an activity. The wreath is so classic though.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Front door, the whole thing. All right. All right. Next one. Ornaments or an advent calendar.
Ornaments.
Okay.
We have ornaments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Javo?
Ornaments.
Yeah, I think as a decoration, I would say it's more normal that ornaments would win out because you can put ornaments everywhere. They put them on garland, they put them on the wreath, they put them on the tree, all this stuff. And I think the advent calendar is more standalone, and I feel like not everybody uses those. Whereas I think like ornaments is ubiquitous; it's everywhere. So okay, last one on the first level. It's Christmas lights versus an LED reindeer.
Christmas lights.
Christmas lights.
Javo?
Yeah, Christmas lights.
I would 100% say Christmas lights. Well, like our whole block, our whole corner right there, we have 5 houses that are all lit up with Christmas lights on our corner. So it looks awesome because we're kind of like at a very weird, big, long-shaped oblong circle. And so you kind of turn the corner, and our houses are the very far end, and then you turn the corner there. So as you're driving down from our corner, everything is lit up at the far end of the street, and it's pretty awesome. It's actually kind of caught wind where other people down the block are now like doing their house up too, which is really
That's
fun.
cool.
So it's kind of taking some spots. So yeah, definitely Christmas lights for sure. Okay, so that brings us back to the other side. I think we went Christmas tree versus stocking.
Christmas tree.
versus stocking. Going Christmas tree.
The tree.
Tree.
Yeah, Christmas tree.
I'm gonna go same on that. Definitely Christmas tree wins out over stocking. It's the main, I think, decoration that most people identify with it's gonna be in a final. I think is my perspective. I will say this: we didn't have any reference to get one when we lived in Cairo, and so we moved to Cairo, and we moved in the middle of summer. It's hot as blazes. Of course, we only moved with like 20 bins for our family of 5, so we're not going to put Christmas decorations in our bins. So come Christmas time, we're looking for stuff to decorate and things like that. We were able to get a nativity from when we went to Kenya. We bought one that was hand carved, super cool. So we had a nativity for the house, but we didn't have a Christmas tree, so I went looking for one. I found someone who was selling them the very beginning of end of October actually, and they're selling them at some shop I came across. So it didn't. The one I had, it didn't really fit in the box or anything like that. It was a long, didn't come apart. So it was this long stick that everything hung on to. And so I'm walking through Cairo in October with a giant like LED lit up Christmas tree over my shoulder, like for blocks and blocks and blocks. Dude, people were staring at me like, what is going on?
That's awesome.
When I got there and plugged it in, it was awesome because it's all electric, bright, super fake looking, but like all LED everything. So it was like the most LED not real Christmas tree you
so
can
funny.
have. And we had that for the year that we lived in Cairo.
That's so cool.
So it was pretty fun. It's a good one. All right, the next battle is snowman versus nativity set. So snowman versus nativity set. Which do you think is the better decoration?
The nativity.
Okay, Javo.
Are we going better or more iconic?
I think either one. I mean, it's however you say it, the best Christmas decoration.
I think I'd still go nativity.
Okay.
I feel like out of obligation, we have to go nativity.
Okay. Over snowman.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I think
didn't really like Frosty in the first place, but yeah.
I think we've established
feel like-
that.
Yeah, I think like out of obligation, we have to do the nativity.
Yeah, I think from Christ's perspective, obviously,
Yeah.
it's nativity. Nativity is used worldwide. I mean, that's a huge thing. It's used in other parts of the world that don't do any of the Christmassy, like snowman and Santa stuff at all. So a lot of those other places, they don't do that at all. But the nativity is very much the center. So huge deal. Okay, brings us over to inflatable versus wreath. It's our next level. Java, what do you think, man?
I'd say an inflatable.
Inflatable is going to go over wreath.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I'd say inflatable too.
I gotta go wreath.
You're going to go wreath?
Yeah.
Man, I think I'm going to have to go inflatable. I think the size thing wins out. You
Yeah,
can
sure.
also have a big wreath shape. But, man, I think that the wreath is hung in there pretty good.
I feel like it's so iconic.
It's pretty
It's such a
iconic.
staple to Christmas. Is like wreaths on the front door.
It's true.
So,
I think
yeah.
in our modern context, it's like been inflatable for a while.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it's like been big. Whereas like some people don't have anything on their front door. And so, we have a wreath, but a lot of people don't. They just don't.
Yeah.
We do, and my wife hates it because I got it on the auction for like $2. It's
Oh.
super ugly, highly tacky,
That's
silver
funny.
wreath.
Oh, that's
funny.
great.
Every year we get it out. She's like, I hate this thing. It's
That's
so
amazing.
ugly.
All right,
Which
next
is what
one.
makes
This
it
is a heavy
amazing.
hitter.
Yeah.
It's ornaments versus Christmas lights for better decoration. All right, Javo, what do you think, man?
It's definitely lights.
Okay.
That's tough. I like the lights. I would say lights, but I think about all the memories and stuff connected and the sentimentality that comes with Christmas ornaments.
Okay.
Gosh, I don't know.
I have an opinion, but Gage, where you at, dude? Lights versus ornaments.
I hate putting up Christmas lights. Ornaments are a lot less.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say ornaments.
Really?
A lot
I'm,
less work.
I'm definitely going lights, and here's why. Lights are not just for the outside of your house, it's on the tree. So, like, unless you get a pre-lit tree, which is just only in the last, 10, 15 years, everything before that was like real tree plus lights. And I've seen, I don't know if you've seen how cool and bougie they used to do the candle thing. Have you seen
yeah.
that?
Yep.
Where they light the candles and it like self-lights? That's super cool.
Wild.
But that's what the Christmas lights took this place of. So that's why I would say Christmas lights, even over the other side of that with ornaments, because I feel like, man, lights at nighttime, you can't see any ornaments. Definitely can see the lights.
Exactly.
So something cool there. All right, coin flip then. So what do we got on coin flip? Need a coin flip. Heads is ornaments. Tails is lights. Drum roll, drum roll.
And you know what? I'm gonna say I really
Coin
don't.
flip's happening.
Tails.
Tails. Lights went through.
I don't necessarily hate putting up Christmas lights. I hate taking them down. I think
mean,
that's
I'm
the biggest one.
It's way
hear
easier
that.
to take them down.
It's
You think
super
so?
fun. Way
w-
faster.
Well, because with modern housing, you have to like stick it in the stucco, and then you can just like kind of leave them there for the next year, unless you're gonna like move everything. But yeah, you just like de-string the lights, and then you just have to roll them back up to like unroll everything because of the way that you package it.
the worst.
Like it can get tangled up. Like I remember last year, I think you were with Ernie
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and you guys had to detangle for like 2 hours before you
Yeah.
even set up anything.
Yeah, I had set up my lights.
That's a
already.
lot of
I was
lights.
helping him undo a row
Yeah.
of lights. Dude, I regret it. I should have just given him $30 and had him buy more lights.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I was spent it was like 2 hours
Yeah.
untangling. Like I think it was 1,000 light strand or something. Some
Yeah, it's
crazy long
ridiculous.
strand.
Griswold activities.
Yes, 100% that. And so, and of course we're trying to put them up actively. So it wasn't like I was sitting on the couch undoing them. No, we're standing up, undoing them, trying not to like kick the ground and cuss or anything like that. So yeah, that's quite the endeavor. All right, so lights rolls through. All right, so we're back to now Christmas tree versus nativity set.
Christmas tree.
Gage with the hot take, Christmas tree.
I say nativity because that's what points us back to Christ.
Okay.
And that's the
agree.
important thing.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's true. But I think it is a Christmas tree nonetheless.
I'm going to agree that it is probably the Christmas tree, though we here at the church, it's very much the nativity, and we're very much focused on that. And that
There's
process
so much
of
more
Christ.
value in the nativity. than there is
Absolutely.
in the
Yeah.
Christmas tree.
I do, obviously, for those who are like anti-Christmas tree, because they think it's pagan, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are saying that they use the Christmas tree in its evergreen nature to talk about our faith in Christ, its hope even during the winter, and it doesn't lose its leaves, it doesn't do those things. So I like that symbolism that's there. So it's not a negative thing. Like it's like, oh, these pagans are choosing a tree over Jesus. But I agree. I think it's like iconically the thing that people think of when they think of Christmas decorations. It's the icon on your phone when you're trying to text something about Christmas.
Well, and I think that if you were to pick 20 homes in the neighborhood, you're going to find more Christmas trees, per home than you're going to find nativity sets.
Yeah, even in Christ-centered homes.
No, that's true. That's a good point. All right, so we're back to this. So we're now inflatable versus Christmas lights. What do you think, Angus?
I like the Christmas lights over the inflatable.
Okay.
I think while there's a lot of diversity in it, there's some really cool things you can do with lights.
That's true.
So.
Javo?
Yeah, definitely lights.
Lights on that. Gage?
Lights.
We're all there together. Definitely lights. I think you can do a lot with an inflatable, but lights are the way. Okay, so this is down all the way to the very end. So you have Christmas tree versus Christmas lights. What do we got? Gage? Tree. Okay. Javan?
See, I'm going to say tree, even though I think nowadays it'd probably be lights, but I'm going to say tree.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with Javan with that.
And I got outvoted. I would definitely have gone lights because that's just how I am. But anyway, the tree wins. We have a hand for a Christmas tree. It's positive. It's good stuff there. Shifting gears here, we talk about at the Cornerstone Collective, the 7 C's, and they are commitment, community, communication, competence, creativity, compassion, and celebration. We want to talk about this idea of creativity. We've been talking about AI quite a bit, and one of the things I wanted to bring to you guys' attention, because Gage being in the industry, they're constructing something every week. Angus and I, by default, kind of being in that industry, just by the amount of projects we do here, not because we're professionals at all. But something that is definitely something is doing construction with AI-empowered robots, which is interesting. China just built, I think it was like hundreds of kilometers of paved road, like freeway system, with unmanned equipment. What's your take on that?
I think building a road is a lot easier than building a warehouse. Not even a warehouse, right? But let's say a refinery.
Okay.
There's a lot of different, construction's a very broad term. There's a lot of different things to build. And I think that moving dirt and laying a flat foundation or even a specifically sloped foundation is going to be a lot easier than it would be to have unmanned equipment or tools building something as intricate as like a pump system, right? Where things need to be measured and cut and installed in specific ways.
Right.
Yeah, I think we had talked about before is like the ways in which these machines would need to articulate and be mobile enough,
right,
while still maintaining the power and all the other things and the sense of direction. I just don't see it as possible.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some time for sure. Guys, what's your take, like seeing something like that be used right now? Angus, what do you think, man?
I think, like Gage is saying, that it'll take some time to get to more in-depth projects, but I think that that's where we're headed. I mean, any place people who own a company can get away with cheaper labor. Is that doesn't mouth off, that doesn't call in sick. That's where it's going to be. So any place you've got an employee that's a difficult, you need to be aware, because they're going to try and find a replacement for you. And I think that's the nature of business. We have to get it done. And if I can get this road laid with somebody who's not going to complain, who's not going to call in sick, who's not going to get heat stroke, I'm going to go with them. Because I can pay for them once and then a monthly maintenance or whatever it is, but it's way less than vision, dental benefits, all of that stuff. But, we were just talking to, I think it was Travis who was talking about, they've got some AI welding stuff to replace some guys. But the problem is that they now have to have somebody watch that. So they've only shifted their costs, So they're still having to watch. So to your point, I think we're not there yet, but we will be.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see it scale up. I'll say this. One of the things that's interesting with thinking about that is that, you do have to have somebody who's looking at the implementation, obviously the guidance and systems and all that type of stuff, as well as someone who can actually work on the physical piece of robotics. So not just the coding side, but the actual side of it. So it always comes back to that kind of thing with thinking about how they implement what they're doing there. Javen, what's your take, man, on seeing some of this stuff roll out? Are you surprised? Or are you excited about it? Do you care?
I mean, I'm definitely excited about it. I think like even the news around like a decade ago that we were able to build skyscrapers as fast as they could in China. I think it was like something ridiculous, like 4 days.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
insane.
it's crazy.
Whereas now with AI, you probably do that even quicker if they just like program enough robots to be able to just install that much steel and then quickly build everything up.
Yep.
And I think as places increasingly get more urbanized, it will definitely be needed, and that will drive people to make more advanced technology and technology that doesn't have to have as much oversight as it does now in case it messes up on something super slight. But yeah, definitely over time as these things continue to build and build and build, it'll just get so locked in to the point that it can basically do it on its own. You just need somebody to actually like tell it to do it. So
Yeah.
I think definitely it's super cool to see that's happening right now.
We used to joke often when I was in college. I was in California, and you'd see these guys working for Caltrans would just be like leaning on a shovel, and there'd be like a bunch of dudes that are doing that, and then like one guy in the hole digging. So you had like 4 sub supervisors, and then a guy for real with a truck and a coffee cup like sitting to the side. So you had like 7 people in the workplace, but only one dude is digging the hole. And so that's what you're talking about, cutting away all that extra.
Yeah.
Now you need all those guys for the project, but not necessarily every step of the project. Whereas they can automate all those kind of things and just make it go.
Right. Well, and it'll end up getting to the point where you've got the machines maintaining the machines and all that stuff. So you won't even need the people to maintain. At some point, there's going to be one last button push that says go.
One dude, yeah.
And then after that last button push, it's all automated.
Yeah,
And the machines will maintain themselves, and like it's Terminator.
Skynet goes live and we're all in trouble.
100%.
Hey, to that end, we were talking about this, something that I saw was really interesting. I think I sent this to Gage. I definitely talked about it with Angus. We saw where there was a guy who's sitting in a room. It's really nice. It's all set up with all these big screens everywhere. And he's being ported in to run excavators or cranes or these really big pieces of equipment, but he's not on site. He's at his house. So he walks into his own like room or whatever, his study, and he goes in, sits down at this thing. He has the full controls just like you would sitting in the seat wherever it is in the world, but he gets ported into that place. So he could be working in the middle of the night across the world somewhere where it's daytime, like in Dubai, building a skyscraper, excavating to do all their pieces. It was wild to see that. I'm like, man, this guy's just ported across. It's like flying a drone where he's across somewhere else. What do you think about that?
I think that's far more the direction that things are going to go. Cause I think, and like there's so much intricacy when it comes to these big projects.
Yep. Huge.
And it's the same way they're doing it with that controller, that operator, is because nothing can really replace human judgment. Nothing can replace our intuition, our judgment, our discernment, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
It's great to program things, to problem solve and all these other areas, but I really think the big thing is going to be the intricacy and the diversity of different applications for the things that we're trying to put in. I just think AI, robots, like machines in general are so limited in their capability of completing these things. That it's always going to fall back to, in some way, they're going to need human intervention to complete these projects. Even like fine tuning all the small details, like there's so much that goes into these things that I think that's more the route that things are going to be taken in the future, is like you can still have humans running these jobs, but maybe it's just not going to be as much of those people on site.
Okay. So more like there's a movie that just came out in the last year called The Electric State, and it's a person is actually driving a robot across wherever they are. So it's essentially like having, what's that called in video games where you have somebody, your avatar, like have your avatar represent you essentially, but it's real life. Like they're now a robot avatar that essentially you go and run this robot around and you sit in your
recliner
chair.
with a helmet on and
exactly, and run it. So it's really interesting to watch this guy driving a massive excavator and driving these cranes or whatever. The other thing I saw was implementation was crazy. Was there was a guy who has one of those really big drones we were talking about, and how they've been using drones now for years to go and fly over like power lines and see if power lines are down or other things that were really difficult work to do before. Now they can do really fast. He was taking and he put this $16,000 LiDAR head in the place of his camera on his drone, and they would fly over spaces and completely LiDAR scan every single thing that's there. So it's seeing every single depth, all the topography of a place, like showing you what the buildings look like. And he was just running this thing through places and was auto mapping everything. It was super wild. Wow. Really interesting idea. Javan, what do you think, man, in the future? Do you think that there'll be some of that kind of stuff where people just set up and when you go to work, you just punch into a place and you're driving a robot? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, as far as you step into like a sim and you remote control something.
Exactly.
Like, people even do that for fun now with like racing simulators. I mean, yeah, you're playing a game, but like in theory, as long as you have a robot or something physical that controls whatever setups on the other end, you could just infinitely multiply that like over and over and over again. And people now are even heading more towards like a remote work kind of setup because everything can just be automated or pushed online or through a cloud or some kind of signal between one thing to another.
Right.
And so eliminating that cost for people that keep coming in and keep having to do that not only makes things go faster, but it's also easier for everybody else in the process because you work from the comfort of your own home.
Right.
And you still get all the work done that you need to do, but you don't have to be there physically.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk. Like, we have a friend named Mike who he works with an architecture firm and a design firm, and they do implementation of really big projects. So they're doing build outs of pieces. Like, they built like the train that takes people from terminal to terminal over at here in Phoenix, or they've done other really big, maybe bridges or tunnels or whatever else they're implementing. And it's really interesting because most of their work is now remote. Like, even before COVID in 2020 and that whole situation, they were all remote anyway. So they're just locked into their desk and on calls all the time, and they see people's keystrokes and all that stuff that people that track is really insightful to see. I think that there'll be more of that, not less of that. And it'll be a very interesting thing because their life will get smaller because they won't be wheels up driving place to place as much. They will be, I think, more remote working. Whereas there's been other sides of that where working in tech companies, they realize that a lot of their interaction of people face to face is important and is valuable. And so they made people return to the office and go back the other way. So I think there's going to be a friction and a fight between the two concepts that's going to be going on for quite a while. So even if you go there and everything is set up there at the office and you go and punch in at an office, and kind of like you'd see like in a military installation where they go to the office to fly their drones. They're not flying a drone from their apartment. You know what I mean? They have to go into a facility and it's all protected, et cetera, et cetera. I think more of that will probably happen. So there'll still be a little bit of that give and take and some travel that's there.
I think a lot of that has to do with like the cost of the equipment that these companies are having to loan out.
For sure.
It's just like a loaner truck, but some of these things are like 5 times the value of, you know, so I don't think they want to let people just take that home and utilize it at their,
for sure.
You know, like, hey, at 9 o'clock, grab this $2 million machine and
100%.
Hook up to this $5 million machine and just do your thing until, you know, time to quit. And you can just set it down wherever you want in your house.
Yeah, they want to have complete control over that stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be really interesting.
I could see that for sure.
Hey, something along those lines was we were talking about humanoid robots being able to do stuff. One of the things I saw was pretty wild this week. In China and in Korea, they have robot backup dancers that are humanoid backup dancers. I saw that. Did you see this?
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I thought it looked really creepy. I mean, precise.
Super precise.
Super precise. And it was neat to see. It was neat to see them so synchronized. But coming from the performing arts and all of that, part of the beauty, I think, is seeing all of these autonomous beings, you know, these individual people coming together and getting on the same beat.
Right.
You know, and because it's through practice, it's not through programming or any of that. It's through muscle memory, it's through sacrifice, it's through a lot of work that, I mean, you think like some of the Chinese show that comes through, Shang-Chi or what, Shang-Chi,
Beautiful.
You know, imagine that being done with robots.
Right.
I mean, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot less beauty to it, I think, when you take out the human element.
Yeah, because robots are expected to be synchronized.
Exactly.
So it's kind of be one of those things where you're like, this is not that impressive. It's not as impressive as humans doing it, for sure.
Right. And so that's kind of how I see. I mean, I get for the gimmick, and it may be one of those things, but I don't really like it as an idea.
It was weird because they had him like kind of dressed up in like backup dancer clothes.
Yeah, it was really super
crazy.
creepy looking.
Java, what do you think, man? Backup dancer humanoid robots?
I mean, I think I'm on the same page as Angus. Like, it's cool to see robots do like a routine, but once again, I mean, they're expected to do that routine. That's what they were programmed to do.
Right.
So I mean, depending on how intricate or unique or how epic the routine is,
Right.
I think it varies on how cool the performance is, but it still will never replace that human element to people like actually dedicating themselves to learn how to do that for that long and then executing it perfectly, because people place themselves in the shoes of another person, not in the shoes of a robot, or else
Right.
everybody would just expect themselves to be perfect.
Okay, so the dancer would be seen as probably an artist, and the choreographer maybe as an artist.
Yeah.
So would the programmer of choreographed robots be seen as an artist?
I think they're a creative. I don't think they're like an artist. Well, what do you mean, like the programmer?
The programmer that's putting together the choreography for the robots, would they be considered a choreographer? That'd be an artist, or
But I
not?
think those would be.
I think so.
Those would be two different people, though, right?
Yes.
You'd have a choreographer, and then you'd have a programmer that goes in and actually like
Syncs
works
up
with
that
the choreographer.
choreography.
Yeah, that's like you're gonna move this direction at this time, and then replicate that like 7 times. How many backup dancers you have? But the choreographer is like the director, like the creative within that space. But I don't think they're an artist for that.
So if you had a person who was a choreographer that also was a coder,
Okay.
would they then be considered like an artist, or would they just be a creative?
No,
I
it's
think
like
they'd be considered an artist because of the choreography, not because of the programming.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I think of like the drone guy. That guy's an artist. I
Okay.
mean, he does incredible works. I think that's
Right.
but it involves.
Is it because of his
just
choreography or because of his coding?
both? I mean, it's what he uses his coding to paint with, and to form a picture with this technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's artists who use technology all the time to, they'll create a robot that will create a painting.
Right.
Does that make them less of the artist? Because, so that's kind of how I see it. I
That's
still
an
see him
interesting
as
take.
an artist.
Hot
I mean,
take.
they could have brilliant minds and
Yeah.
do, amazing creative things. But just because you're smart and you're creative doesn't mean that you're an artist.
Okay,
Yeah.
that which is what Javan was saying on
Yeah.
the side of a creative, not necessarily an artist.
Exactly.
yeah.
That's an interesting idea. Delineation of the meaning of the word actually holds weight, or else we wouldn't be discussing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting idea because I definitely could see the camp of what you're talking about, where it is both the coding that makes them an artist as well as the choreography. Whereas we probably all would agree that a choreographer is an artist because they're creating something in a routine out of nothing and something that looks, like good to the eye, etc. And so it's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To see where it's at, because you would say, okay, with that description, then a biology engineer would also be an artist,
Yeah.
because they're creating something that's like custom.
Yeah, I know. I think that's why you can't say that a choreographer directly is an artist. I think you have to say they're creative, or else you have to say that every director that's ever made a movie is considered an artist because they're the ones that's like framing how the story is told.
Yes.
They're the ones telling the actors what to do in that moment, but they're not actually executing anything.
But
They're
I
just
think most people would say that.
But I think they're just the people that have like a storyboard. The people that execute the storyboard and perform like specific functions within the storyboard, those are like real artists. Because like, would you say an editor is an artist? I don't think so.
I think so, because they affect the story, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's why the director sits with the editor in that process, because they are, and that's why like places like UA is United Artists. So they definitely see themselves as artists, whether or not we give them the moniker. I think that the idea is they see themselves as artists, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the definition of artist either encompasses pretty much everybody that works in some form of like performing creative or like design industry.
Yeah.
Like no matter where you work in that department, because then you could also qualify people that like oversee something extremely small.
Sure.
It's like within
Like
detailing.
coloring film or coloring- yeah.
Then they're an
Colorization.
artist for that
Yes.
specific thing. Or you have to be extremely narrow about the definition of an artist and be like, it's tied to this medium. It's tied to you performing this exact step within the overall creative process.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you just have to give like a very specific definition for what an artist is before you can actually make that assertion.
I have the definition of artist right here.
Ooh, dictionary.
So, a person who produces paintings or drawings as a profession or hobby. Another sub-definitions are a person who practices any of the various creative arts, such as a sculptor, novelist, poet, or filmmaker. The last
Filmmaker.
one is a person skilled at a particular task or occupation.
So it could be any task. or
anybody.
occupation.
So a chef could be an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So-
So,
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
there-
it really
then a coder
does
is an artist.
So it depends on how, which
Yeah.
part of that definition they're in. you
And
decide.
Gage is a sprinkler artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Your new
I-
cards now artist.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lead with artist.
I don't know. I don't think what I do is art. I think there's people can be artistic,
Sure.
right? But you got to think some art sucks. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because
Eyes of the beholder. Yeah, I
totally.
agree. But so like, what I was just thinking about too is like I don't know nearly enough about coding or programming to where like, because I guarantee there's a coder or a programmer who will sit down and watch somebody else code, and they're just like, that is art. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
It
amazing.
like syncs to them.
Yeah, and I mean, in the same way that, you know, like dance routine, you know, like you got like a kid's ballerina program and they look at like these big stages and they're like, that is beautiful. That's amazing.
Right.
To me, like dancing isn't really art. But that's me. That's eyes of the beholder part.
Sure.
I still don't think that like taking something that somebody, like we're going to tie this all back to the Chinese, North Korean, whatever background dancers.
Yes. It was not North Korea. It's just Korea. No, it's North Korea.
Sorry.
South
So
Korea.
like,
just bringing that out because the North ones are probably militarized anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think that the person that took that dance that somebody set up, I think the choreographer is the artist.
Okay.
I think it's like a copy and paste thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They took this dance,
Yeah.
they copied it, and they pasted it or programmed it, whatever,
Yeah.
into this software that then these robots could run.
Okay.
I don't think that makes them an artist. They could be artistic in the way they program, but I don't think the copy and paste is what makes them an artist.
Okay.
I think maybe the way they execute it.
Yeah.
Could
Which
be.
goes back to like not knowing how much effort it takes because it takes
Exactly.
a gang of effort to do coding.
Oh,
So
yeah.
much effort.
Oh, yeah.
So in that way, it's the copy and paste is like very little of that process. Okay, so in this line of thinking, then Javan, would you consider yourself an artist? You're our producer / editor.
Yeah,
here.
I'm not an artist because I
You're
think
not a podcast
no,
artist?
no, I'm not an artist like that. Because I think going back to that same definition, like with somebody like a dancer, is that you also have to think about people like within the realm of sports. So somebody like Neymar, who's like extremely flashy with his skills and adds like his own bit of touch, own bit of flair to everything that he does when he touches the ball.
Yeah.
Would you consider him an artist, or like when you watch the way he plays football, is that an art? I mean, maybe, but I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say you could give him the definition of an artist just because he's executing something that well.
Right.
I think, once again, I think you have to define or tie it to specific mediums. So something like painting is like very clearly a specific form of art. I think you could stretch it to film, but once again, you have to kind of vary how film is seen within that way. Because like, is an actor an artist? That's another good question.
Well,
Because
they definitely would say themselves as giving their role and their execution of the vision that they would be an artist within a subset of the artist of a greater artist vision.
yeah,
I like how you
So,
said that, the execution of a vision. I like how you said that.
So I think
because-
there's a piece of that for sure. All right, going along this line, here's something interesting to think about. Because a lot of creatives, you know, that's why they don't do drug tests at Disney, because no one would pass and they would have no staff at Disney. And so a lot of people connect like a lot of the artistic stuff, and that's a lot of drug culture connected to artistic drug stuff. There is a company called Pharmacy. It's Pharmacy, like PHARMAICY, Pharmacy, that is selling AI drugs. That it's codes you can put into your AI to have them react differently. So it's like digital cocaine, digital weed, digital this, digital that. And you can buy those codes as if you're giving remember we talked about how you can customize your own AI to have your own AI person or whatever the concept is there. So your own personal AI. So for your personal AI, you want your personal AI to be a little bit jazzed up. So you put some AI code in your AI.
Wow.
To
say
give your
code or coke?
digital cocaine, digital craziness.
That's a bizarre concept.
But people were selling it. It's actively being sold right now.
Bro, what is the world that
How
we
does
live
that
in?
work?
I don't know. I mean, it's like buying new shoes for you know your avatar online. I mean, buying a new outfit for your you know your fighter on Fortnite. I mean, so why they get a new skin, right? So they don't look like just out the box. So I guess they're thinking, dude, I like having a good time. I like wasting my future. So why not buy some digital drugs for
I don't want
AI?
my AI to be super sensible. I want my AI to be a pothead
Yeah, I
like
want 'em
me.
But I'm curious how that affects.
Strange.
How does that affect your results and things like that if you're putting in?
My assumption is it reprioritizes the focal point for the AI and it would give it a different. It's saying that it's broadening its horizon beyond its natural parameters.
See, and that's what I'm thinking. So when you said it's like giving it drugs, I immediately thought LSD because as
Yes.
an expander.
That's
so
one-
like,
that's
how
one
do
of them,
you
yeah.
how do you get AI, which already, has all of the information and knowledge that
Yep.
we've put digitally? It has all of that. Now, looking at it through that kind of a lens, that's why.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Javo?
Yeah, I mean, my first thought for how that would work would probably be like, because of the way AI is taught to look at specific sites, I think most of them draw from like Reddit and Twitter, which is already kind of a problem as is, but
Yeah, of course.
enough on that. Yeah, so I would assume that it's just taught to derive most of the information or the way that it speaks or thinks or like looks for things from either more places or like a very specific subset of information on the internet that exists. And then it's also taught to speak to you a different way. So like usually it's like very
Yeah.
kind and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, here, I'll give you this. And even like with Grok and the customization
Yep.
that you can have with some of that, you can get it to say like crazy
Yeah,
things
cuss
to you.
words at you,
Yeah,
call you bad words.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
exactly.
So now it's going to speak to you all in conspiracy.
Yeah,
theories
exactly. That's-
because
You can.
Yeah,
you
that's
definitely
my
can.
first thought.
And I think that's where they're coming with this is that you can customize it so much that you're like, I want this thing to be wild. And like there people are like out there. I want like facts. That's what
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
from AI.
yeah.
But that's not how some people are thinking. So like to Gage's point, yeah, you have a pothead AI now and it's gonna prioritize like getting brownies or like chips or something over paying your rent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think my mind goes to, which all of this is just such a wild and weird concept
Isn't
to me
it?
in general because I'm removed from so much of it. But
Right.
like I think about it in the sense of like the mannerisms in which the AI operates and how they talk. Would maybe people want something that's less like aristocratic, maybe because like you say, you want facts, you want things spit to you straight and hard.
Sure.
And they come in like a very kind and gentle and like
Right.
maybe it's like real P's and Q's.
And it's clearly that I am the owner or the leader of this
Yeah.
thing, and it therefore is responding to me in a way I want.
Sure, but then I think about the pharmacy side of it, and it's like, do I just want like an oxied up? Like, what does that even
Yeah,
look like?
Exactly. I have no
You want an
idea.
AI that
I
you
want
can
my
rewire
AI
your stereo with.
Yeah, like I want my AI to have as much opium as like the lead singer of Alice in Chains back in the day. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's just weird.
So
The
mostly dead. Yeah, sure.
yeah, that's pre like peak. But
Yeah.
the whole concept to me is crazy. And what does it look like? And the only thing I can think of is like the mannerisms in which the AI operates. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be the capacity to which it can answer these questions or the things it can do.
Yeah.
But rather just how it reacts to things or how it
And to
carries
tie
itself.
this back to a Christ follower perspective, we come back to this concept of thinking about thinking about the ethics of giving your AI drugs or the ethics of something that what you're doing with your AI. It's a really interesting concept because is it you? No. Are you taking drugs? No. But you are. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you start to open up these
No,
conversations.
there's no spirit within that AI. There's no like right.
that's
there's no-
another conversation
There's no
that some-
soul within it.
That's some conversation that some Christ followers are saying is that I agree with you. It's just computer.
Yeah.
They're saying that AI will actually open the door for the spirit realm to intervene and be a part of the actual driving operation of thinking process behind AI. That's a real conversation that's happening online all the time. We haven't really brought it here because I don't really necessarily, that's not where I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they're doing it through computer encoding, et cetera, et cetera. Doesn't mean that the enemy wouldn't use it for something like that or that the coders
Right.
wouldn't be influenced in that way to make it that way.
Right.
But some people do speculate, and it's a speculation.
Sure.
They're saying that AI will not be true AI, meaning it won't be sentient, that it'll actually be a spiritual entity that's taking advantage of an AI platform. Have you guys heard that before, Javo?
Yeah, I've heard it was like some people think that the AI comes and serves as like who the Antichrist is or like a variation of what that would look like, and then it takes a physical form that eventually people revere and see as like almost a real human,
Correct.
just not actually made from flesh. Which is an interesting idea, but once again, until we see AI able to almost emulate humans perfectly,
Right.
to the point where like we make very brash decisions or we have like a hunch to do something,
Right.
I think we're very far removed from them actually taking our place or being able to do everything that a normal human being can do.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's just really interesting that they would think this far ahead to be like, oh, well, I mean, drugs is like a huge thing that makes billions of dollars a year across the world. We're fighting the war on drugs and say no to drugs is the campaign, to being like, no, we're going to sell drugs for your AI, which isn't illegal because they're not an entity that you could make it illegal.
And it's just such a wild concept to me.
Let's make artificial drugs. But like, people don't take it. We just give them like computer drugs.
Well, I mean, to their point, and this is some people are like, who would spend that kind of money on that thing?
Clearly,
you think
people.
about billions of dollars that people spend to dress their pets up. I don't mean like food and water and treats for your dog or grooming. I mean just for like a squeaky toy or an outfit for your dog. Billions of dollars a year.
Look at Fortnite.
100%.
That's not even physical clothing.
No,
there are people
skins.
spending
Huge money.
Huge money on digital clothing.
And someone, like, I grew up a gamer, like gaming now. I don't get to play very often, but from time to time I'll jump in there. Definitely have like ranked my people up. Why? Because it's fun and you unlock stuff that customize them, and then you don't look like every other player on the game.
Yeah, it's just a deeper part of the game. You just have to pay to go deeper into the game.
So I think they're leaning on this on the front end, being like, dude, you want to be real crazy? Like, which I think is a wild
Do you want your
concept.
AI to be like everybody else?
Well,
or do you want your AI to do heroin?
Right. Which, let's just be very clear. We're not pro doing any drugs. We're not pro buying your AI drugs.
I'm not even pro my MacBook being on drugs. You know
No,
what I
I'm
mean?
trying to get my MacBook off drugs right now. Seriously, that's one of those things.
Dear heavens, dude.
It's eating too many cookies, and he's going on a diet. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with your MacBook.
Hey, alongside this, made me think of straight away was, an AI is not going to respond well if you give it some kind of like coding that acts as like a drug to mess it up. There was a power outage in San Francisco this week. Now we're filming this in like the last part of December, kind of just crossing over the halfway part of the month. But this week in San Francisco, and it's one of the testing grounds, just like Phoenix, for things like Waymo. When the power went out in San Francisco because they had a power surge, they couldn't handle the amount of power being used in the city. All the Waymo cars shut down because the center that drives the Waymo cars did not have power. So you went from being there was no power in buildings to complete gridlock anywhere there was a Waymo car, which across the city, there are lots in San Francisco. So it made not just a power outage, but also a traffic jam. What do you guys think about that?
That's horrible.
Isn't that crazy?
I think that's a prime example on why it's a bad concept to transfer everything over to autonomous life.
Yeah,
I think it's a prime example.
And the power grid can't handle it, and so that's why backup generator runs fossil fuel, and so that's why like some of that stuff wasn't put in place because of all the regulations in California, and so now they don't have anybody being able to get anywhere because even if you have a gas powered car, you can't go around the block of multiple Waymo cars in the lane, which was a really cool concept. What do you guys think about that, Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like, to the point of what Gage was talking about, like, with everything being so autonomized, if there's any power outage whatsoever, everything would just stop working. Or even, like, with long-distance trains that we're talking about, or even, like, automated highways that they're theorizing about, like, implementing for really long-distance driving.
Right.
It would suck so bad. Imagine you just get stuck in the middle of a road and have to wait for the nearest like generator to finally kick in.
Right.
And over a really big area where a bunch of people live, like millions of people, it would just cause for a delay in absolutely everything. So like the market shuts down for the day.
Right.
You would think like nobody could really go to work. Nobody can really go home either because you're just stuck in place for where you are.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know. They need to figure out some sort of way to either guarantee that that doesn't happen for a long time, like, and actually go back on the regulation for fossil fuels, or they need to figure out a way to like disperse how much power is actually being drawn from certain areas with like the way that servers work. But,
yeah, no, that's true. I would say this, you and your boys just got back from California. You just said that. So you're driving 6 hours there, 6 hours back.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you're cranking miles, which is a very American thing to do. Driving 6 hours in Europe, you'd be like 4 or 5 countries over,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So we're just driving to the next state through our state. And in doing that, I was thinking about all the big trucks that you passed on the road.
Oh, so
in
many.
China, they're already rolling out no drivers on delivery trucks. And the trucks look like a big box, and it's just completely loaded to the gills, and there's no driver, and it has like digital signage across the back to stay back, and all these other things. It warns people it's an automated driving thing. Super wild to see it. Like people are just filming. It's travelers, Western travelers that are just filming out their window. they are in an autonomous taxi as well, but then there's an autonomous delivery truck right beside them, and they're just like showing you what it looks like. That's rolled out and happening right now today.
Yeah.
Across the world. So makes another interesting thing. Was talking about this idea of creativity being implemented with us. All right, number one of the 7 C's is this idea of competence, and we talk about that often with this idea of mental mastery. A couple concepts that we want to talk about today as we look at what mental mastery is and how that might connect to us. Some of the things that we want to look at today. The first one is called ad hominem. Have you guys heard this term before?
I have.
An ad hominem is when you're attacking the person instead of their argument. So an example would be, her idea can't be good, just ignore it. She's only been with the company a month. Have you seen ad hominem used around you, Jabo?
Yeah, I think like even from a legal standpoint, that's like part of what major arguments are built off of within like a case for whether or not someone's evidence is credible is like ad hominem. It's saying that if they've lied about all this before, who's to say that we can trust whatever they say now?
Correct. Yep.
So I think ad hominem to a certain degree works, but definitely like attacking the person for like a very specific instance or like something that they've done only once or like something that you're bringing up from way long ago that like probably everybody forgot is a really cheap way to kind of get out of an argument and just say, oh, but I don't really like you, so you must be wrong.
Right.
But yeah, I think to some degree it works. But yeah, generally people just use it to kind of throw shade at people while also feel like they're not losing the argument. So it's more of like an internal reflection of how much they hate the fact that they're losing an argument.
So you're saying they're just name calling?
Basically, yeah.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some professional people that do this all the time. Gage, what do you think, ad hominem?
I've seen it. Yeah.
You see it in the workplace?
Yeah, of course. I think a lot of it is just kind of like he was saying, there's pride.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like I may not be smart enough to win this argument, but I know at least I'm not you.
Right.
And so like that's, I don't know. I see it in politics.
Sure.
I see it in the workplace.
Sure.
I see it in just culture, right? People, it's the name calling. We've all seen it growing up as kids, like Nana Boo Boo, or like
sticks and stones.
No, your mom's this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally. Yeah.
I know you are, but what am I?
Right.
It goes round and round, but I think it's also kind of sad, that we're kind of wired that way. Like, man, I just don't like you, so I'm going to disagree with you.
Sure. Yeah, totally. And I
we
think
can go a lot farther if
it's
we
used
went
all
like
the
that.
time. And I will say this, like based on the example they gave, as a leader who's hiring younger people that are in a different generation than me and therefore a different perspective, different work experience, etc. They've had some really good ideas. And, if I just was like, I'm not listening to your idea because you haven't been here long enough, then I wouldn't be embracing the very thing that I've hired them for, which is to bring a fresh perspective and do some of these things. So if you don't watch it, if you have to work for 7 years before you get a voice, that's not going to help you get fresh on an idea or try to stay up with the market. So I think there's something to paying attention to ad hominem and that we don't fall into that fallacy. So interesting. The second one we want to talk to you, we'll jump to Angus here. Appeal to authority, believing something because an authority figure says so, not because it's proven. An example, our CEO thinks its strategy will work, so obviously it's the best option. I think of some people talking about politics that are like an actor comes to mind whenever it comes to appeal to authority. What do you think, man?
I think the same thing. I was just talking with somebody about this. That's kind of how I was when I came into adulthood. And you're setting up your life and you're trying to find your mechanic now and your guys, your people, and you kind of default to who your parents went with.
Right.
But I started to find out that, man, my parents, because my dad was a doctor, he was in a whole different bracket than I was.
Sure.
So that opened him up to different people, but also because they saw him as a doctor, they would charge him doctor rates.
Oh, right.
And so I had to kind of step out from under that. But I think that there's something to that. We see it in church all the time. Don't just believe us because we say it.
Right. Look in the book yourself.
Look at the book yourself.
Right. Which we're trying to undo. Just listen to me just because I say it and I have the platform and I have a title. We're saying go look at it yourself.
Yeah. And so I think that there's so we see that a lot in our context, especially.
Yeah, huge deal. I think it ties right back into the next piece, which is bandwagon fallacy. The example here says assuming something is right or true just because it's popular Example, all our competitors use this software, so we should use it too. Gage, what do you think, man? Bandwagon, you see it happening?
Oh, everywhere. It's been a thing forever.
For sure.
Forever. You know, it's
You got a good example?
let's see here. Christmas.
Okay.
Everybody's buying their kids toys on this day of the year. It's the right thing to do. We should all buy our kids toys on this day of the year. If we don't, we're not a part of the group.
Right.
If we don't, we're bad.
You don't care about your kids. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's interesting because honestly, like Christmas is really taking feet in other countries where they don't believe anything about Santa or about Jesus. They're just doing it because it's culturally something that is done in the Western society. Yeah. And so they start doing it too. Javan, you grew up with that concept of some people celebrating Christmas without really having concept for it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us it was a little overblown though, because you have like all these super rich kids like that are just kind of surrounded by a society of other rich kids. So it's kind of like echoes of whatever Western media is pushing, and obviously it's going to be pushing Christmas during seasons of like December and a little bit into January as you get towards New Year. So for them, they kind of just wanted to emulate everything that was in America, and I feel like within developing nations, that's sort of something that you see is, oh, let's copy the West because they must have it so good. Yeah. And then like kind of as you get to Asia, it's like, oh, let's copy like China and more stuff like that. So there's like kind of a divide, I think, in terms of
whoever the power influence is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that alongside, we're talking about this, especially bandwagoning when it comes to young adults and college age people, because they say whatever happens on college campus in 5 years, in 10 years becomes the norm for society because those ideas are birthed with them. And as they become workers, they shift the culture with their concepts. So what do you see has been a bandwagon idea that people have jumped on right away? I think about like some woke culture and some really interesting things that have kind of taken shape. What to you has been a bandwagon thing you've seen college kids jump on?
I think definitely within the idea of woke culture or questioning of authority, but I think that also goes back in what you're talking about for appeal of authority is that just because somebody says it's right doesn't mean it actually is. So I think people are looking at that and just kind of going case by case on things that they feel moral conviction about or things that they feel like a logical conviction about, like, oh, the way that we're thinking about this isn't right because of who it affects or because of the consequences for this group of people, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I think my generation has come in and kind of questioned a lot of things. Whether or not a bunch of their assertions are right is kind of here or there, depending on what the topic is. But definitely that idea of questioning kind of what authority says will definitely shift its way to the workplace. I think like within us trying to work up the corporate ladder, it'll probably be a little less prominent than we want it to be, just because in order to actually keep your job, you kind of got to do what your boss says.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, but
so it's fighting against them. Their own culture is fighting against them for a concept because they're bandwagoning against the system that actually will give them an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. But once again, I think the idea of questioning is good, but you can't question everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Hey, on the same idea of competence, we want to look at some of our books that influence us. The first one that we're looking at here is called Win the Day. It's from Pastor Mark Batterson. He's out of the Washington, D.C. area and is the visionary pastor for that church, National Community Church. One of the things he writes in here, it's 7 habits to help you stress less and accomplish more. It's very much about talking about perspectives and about habits by which we build our life upon. We have talked about so far in that process a few things, and we've talked about this idea of can you do it for a day? If you could do it for a day, then you could do it for 2 days. And the idea of building a habit based on a day-to-day idea, daily bread, and taking a look that way, both in our personal spiritual life as well as in our life with just our normal habits. We talk about the idea of kissing the wave or owning the past, or the past will own you, and the idea of being able sometimes at the very obstacle that you're trying to do, you need to do the hard things first. So they call it eat the frog. If you eat the frog first thing, then you're not stressing about eating the frog. You just do it and be done with it, and there's no more stress about it. So an interesting idea to tackle difficult things and not push them off, as well as the concept of this idea that we're talking about today of imagine unborn tomorrows. So the concept is that we are called to be those that are creatives, that make things happen. His experience, his example was that he drives down streets in Washington, D.C. that were planned out in the mind of somebody who drew the plans for the city, that they had imagined it becoming a reality. And because of it, they worked towards those efforts. And he's saying that if we do that, then we can be those that have the mind of Christ. We could take every thought captive and be those that are in alignment with what Christ wants to do in and through our lives. What do you think about that, Gage?
I think it's a really good concept. It's interesting the way he ties it into, the streets that we walk on were one day imagined by somebody, And then they thought the concept was plausible enough that they started taking steps towards making it a reality.
Right.
And they not only did that, but they had faith and trust that it would work out in the way that they planned it. I think that's so much so in how we need to be walking out our faith, and just like you were saying, taking these thoughts captive, right? And like we can see, and what's so great about it is that we have the example, people around us, right? I mean, we're so plugged into the rest of the world that we can find these, role models or prime examples of what that looks like.
Yeah, the dreamers that made it a reality.
Yeah, and watching it being walked out.
I know you've had conversation with my dad, who's the founding pastor of this church, Cornerstone, because you guys were both part of a union, working in the same kind of field and things like that. When he drew this place, this was actually meant to be something else. It's supposed to be a tract of houses. Yeah. He took this property, redrew the plans, and sold us the property to make it a church, differently than what the original architects had been planned for it, with actually giving them a better process for them to have more houses, because they had planned it wrong. But he sold us this place, so we're sitting in a room that's a reality that was his. It was in his mind at one point, which is crazy.
It's so nice.
Such a cool,
such a blessing. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the guts and the tenacity to see it be built and then be used and then be handed off to others to use it. Angus, we think, man.
I've actually talked with Pastor about this, because there have been times that as I walk through here, because I've been on staff here now for 8, almost 9 years, and it still blows my mind occasionally that I was given keys to the place, because it's such an important place to me.
Yeah.
But to think, not only do I come to a place on a weekly basis that was once in the mind of your parents and as a result of their yes, but now I'm employed by their yes.
Yeah, sure.
That because they said yes, because they were willing to go after that vision, my family is provided for.
Yeah.
And that's really incredible to me. And so that's, for me, his yes and your mom's yes means so much to me, because it literally is putting a roof over my head. Their yes is
changed your life.
Yeah, it really has, because it's given me spiritual life. It's changed who I am as a father and as a husband. So there's that. But then the fact that I'm employed by their yes.
Yeah.
That's an incredible thing. And so every once in a while I've thanked Pastor Rich and Cindy for that, because it really means a lot to me that they said yes. They've changed my life.
Yeah, and as church planters who made something come from nothing, it takes tons of effort, tons to be the impetus, the catalyst of change to make something become a reality. And I agree with you. I think it has changes and ripples in other people's lives they don't even realize. The fact that it's a place, and a building is just a place, it's not a church, but it's set apart for the use of the church, and so it's been anointed for that purpose, and for us inhabiting it as a essentially a community center of the work of God. That's why it's called Cornerstone Christian Center, because that idea during the 80s and 90s was that it's a center to send us out, to be empowered to do something. And I think even as that concept, we've been able to see those things escalate and be lived out. And so I think that the concept with Win the Day and what he's talking about is imagining unborn tomorrows. There's something really powerful about being a dreamer that doesn't just stay in the dream, but puts it to feet and actually works on something.
I think another part of that too is because God has called us all to be dreamers and do all of that stuff, and so maybe He's put something into your heart that's bigger than you can. And so thinking about the other side of that, if Pastor Rich and Cindy had said no, what would my life look like? What would my family's life? What would the community? That Cornerstone's been pouring into. If God had given them that calling, had given them that dream, and then they said no to it. And so how many of us have those kinds of dreams and things that if we don't say yes to, there are going to be people like me who lived an absolutely unchanged life.
Yeah, huge.
Because I said no.
Huge. And I'll say this, like, my dad gave up a job running construction for a massive firm over 14 Western states. I'd have been a rich kid.
Yeah.
And I was pissed when I was young, dude, because I was like a poor pastor's kid.
Yeah.
And didn't have all the things. And I knew that we would have been baller. We would have been balling out of control. And I was like, if you would have said yes to that, then we would have been this. And it was in my heart when I was young, I was smart enough to understand that we weren't wealthy, 2, I was envious enough to want other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Not thinking about the purpose behind why they made the sacrifice, the purpose of why they gave up the job that made all the money and the opportunity and the security that was there to go start a church that didn't exist in West Phoenix. We didn't start in Scottsdale where they had the money. We started out with the blue collar people in the field.
Yeah, where there was nothing out here.
Nothing out here.
Right.
And so to see those things of morality is a huge deal. And the amount of fight, I mean, as being a church planter and having done that internationally, and then being someone who has revitalized churches and taken the helm, it's been something where you give a lot of credit to those who came before you. And just as it says in scripture, Paul talks about, it's not just he who plants and he who waters, but God who gives the increase. So as we lean into his dream for us, in his plan and purpose for us, we'll listen to him by the Spirit, and it'll be something that guides us forward and be in alignment to have something that does change lives, to your point, and has a legacy that will greatly outlast us.
Yeah.
And that we'll get to see the ramifications of actually as we're in the presence of the Lord in the future. Praise God.
Amen.
Next thing we want to look at is John Maxwell, which is an amazing author, leader, writer, a former pastor, amazing guy. This book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, very pivotal, key. It's foundational, groundbreaking for many people. The concept we want to talk about today is called the Law of Victory. It says, find a way for the team to win. Gage, we were talking about on the phone the other day how you were saying if people had the greater picture in mind, that they wouldn't squabble so much at your workplace. What do you think about that? Find a way for the team to win, the Law of Victory.
I think it's so true, right? Exactly that man, if we all had the bigger picture in mind and we had the same picture, I mean, I understand how the fine details on how to get there are usually what cause the problems.
Right, the friction.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't even understand what the big picture is, right? It's the small stuff that they focus on, not the big stuff.
Right.
So they get so caught up in it that then it prolongs, A, the big stuff from happening, but B, it makes it so much more difficult to get to that place. Yeah, huge. I think getting everybody on the same page with the same goal in mind. I mean, it's like if you and I are both excited about one thing, and we both have a map that's drawn out and we both understand, like, these are the things that need to happen. This is my role in that, and this is your role in that.
Right.
And we set out on that path. I think the victory is so much sweeter.
Because we can share it.
Yeah, and because there's not so much friction in between A and B.
That's huge.
Yeah, I think so many problems that I've had in my workplace could have been avoided by the people who are on the receiving end of the friction, understanding that we're on the same journey and that we're both trying to go to the same place.
Yeah, both trying to get the victory.
Maybe we just don't understand our roles in that process.
That's great. That's really insightful. I saw General Schwarzkopf years ago. He was someone who led over in Desert Storm. He was a 4-star general. Saw him talk, he was retired. He was talking about working with different powers, and he's at the premier top. He was the head of, Joint Chiefs of Staff at one point. I mean, this really, really influential guy in the military circles. He was talking about working towards a win-win, which is the Law of Victory. And he was saying that, yeah, we can show our military might. We can get the win, but then they will lose. Or the people can get the win that are local, but then they're never going to get out of this cycle, which was broken, which caused the problem to start. And so they were saying how pivotal it was that you work towards a thing that could win-win, where there's a win for them and a win for you. And that you're able, it might not be exactly everything you wanted or everything they wanted, but it becomes a win-win for the team that's working towards something of a shared goal, to your point, to what you were saying. And I think there's something huge about that. Jay, to you, what do you think, man, about this idea of the Law of Victory?
It's definitely true. My initial thought, as soon as you said get the team a win, I immediately went to PSG in the sports conversation that we had the other day. Yeah, because of what happened with them.
Paris Saint-Germain, it's my favorite sports team. We were in Paris. We were cheering for the soccer team forever, even before they got the money from Qatar. Big fan of them. We finally won the big Champions League this year. It's a big marker for us as a team, but we've had the talent for years and years, and you're about to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. So the team in 22-23 literally had like a compilation of the best players that played in Europe at that time. Like we had Lionel Messi, Neymar, and Kylian Mbappe all on the same team, who at the time were all at either the peak of their careers or like a secondary prime within their careers, but
Right.
they were all healthy and they all
Huge.
played together in the same team, which was crazy because we'd never seen anything like it before. It's like 3 of the biggest names that were all on the same team. Was
bigger
ridiculous.
than Messi, Neymar, Suarez, bigger than Cristiano with Bale
And Benzema, yeah, exactly.
bigger than those big front three.
Yeah, exactly. And it was crazy because the marketing behind France was like at its all-time high. But the problem was with this team was that the 3 of them, you see, Messi and Neymar had played together, but the reason that Neymar left playing at Barcelona in the first place was so that he could be the star of his own show over at PSG.
He could be the Messi.
Exactly. But then as soon as Messi comes along, sure, they start winning more stuff and it's way easier for them to play as a team, but now he's not the star anymore. And the same thing for Kylian Mbappe, who comes up as a youngster and like has the entire support of France as a country behind an 18-year-old that looks better than any player that they've seen within the last like 10 years for his relative
since
age.
Zidane, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And won a World Cup for him at that time. Is that he comes in and thinks that he's going to be like Mr. France for this team. But then as soon as Messi comes in, he immediately gains the respect of all the Argentinian nationals that play for the team. And there's a bunch of them that played all within defense and midfield, and they all gravitate towards their international captain,
Which is Messi.
Yeah, who's been the star of the show for like 20 years at this point.
Yeah,
Something
Ballon d'Or
ridiculous.
winner, greatest one ever. Yeah,
Exactly.
huge.
And by this point, he'd already cemented his legacy as the greatest of all time. But because Mbappe and Neymar just butted heads with that concept so much, the team couldn't thrive or couldn't play as a unit entirely.
Mess.
Exactly. So we end up getting, I think it was to the semifinal this year, and we lose to Real Madrid. It was like 3-1 in like a crazy unprecedented comeback. And at that point, everybody was like, this team on paper should have blown Real Madrid out of the water.
Yeah, and Real Madrid's a very good team consistently.
Exactly, but we just ended up losing. And then over time, people left because PSG didn't have the funds to pay everybody out, and then we try to recycle people through our own academy, things like that. But then 2024 finally comes and runs around, and Mbappe's like at the end of his horse with the club. So then he finally leaves and goes to Real Madrid, the same team that knocked us out of that potential win that we could have had in 22-23.
And has won a ton of trophies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't end up winning anything the next year, but instead PSG fully reforms their team, bases it around youngsters who want to play with each other, that came up through their own academy or that they acquired because they had a mindset to play for a bigger picture and to get the club a UCL win.
Yeah, play for the team.
Exactly. That they finally end up winning. So it was just a crazy full circle moment of how like ego plays into the idea of, oh yeah, everybody can get behind me, but either way, I'm the driving force, or whether or not everybody actually cares about playing for the club or the badge on your chest.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, that's like, it's such a huge thing that within sports that I think that's immediately where my mind went. So it's definitely a true principle.
Law of victory, it's huge. Another one of our C's that we talk about is community. We just had the Mercy House Christmas event, and we'll go to Angus with this. Angus, over 400 kids got a present. Over 200 families got groceries or things that they needed in bags for them. What was it like being a part of it?
Man, it's always so neat to see, just because a lot of these kids, they don't have a lot to look forward to under the tree for themselves. And again, it's not all about gifts, but you know, when you see all of the people that you're going to school with and the people around you always have something and you don't, it's hard to be the one who goes without. And so it's really neat to be a part of helping those kids have a great Christmas, a great experience. And the thing is, it's more than just a toy. That's an expression of somebody's love. Somebody saying, you know what, I care about you, you know, so I'm going to sacrifice a little bit in my life so that you can have something in yours. And that's what's just so cool about it. And to see the love pour from so many different places in the community. I mean, it's really neat to see bikers standing right next to the cops and, you know, right next to the car clubs and who are all standing right next to the military and the business owners.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's such an interesting conglomeration of people that all come together to support this one thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's kind of like a stone soup moment where everybody, you know, I bring this and I bring this. And because everybody brings their little bit, it becomes this incredible event for a community.
Yeah.
And just seeing the look on the parents' face, you know, because it sucks when you can't give your kids the things that they want, the things that you want to give them. It's heart-wrenching when you can't. And to know that that your kids are going to have some of that stuff is incredible. And so seeing that look on some of the parents' face because their kids are going to get something is really neat.
It almost reinforces what we just talked about with the law of victory, is everybody's pulling together for the same purpose. So, man, it just goes off really, really well. And it was amazing. We have in the community, Mercy House has been going on for now 31 years. It started, actually, Gage, to go back to the idea of the stocking, it started with giving the kids a stocking because we didn't have anything.
Really?
The church funded everything, so we didn't have enough money for everything. But we gave all these kids a stocking, which had like an apple, an orange, some walnuts or something in it, and then like some candies and like and stuff like that. That's the first version of it that we did for Mercy House, which is pretty cool. And then now it's developed where, as a non-religious NGO, we actually have community partners of all types. We have, the Legion riders, we have the Rotary Club riders, we have all these different car clubs that come. We have, to your point, the business owners. We have the local school district. We have the community people from the city, like the mayor and them come, and everyone's a part of this bigger effort. Really big conglomerates like Walmart and Amazon give. And Angus and I were breaking down 6 pallets of stuff that Walmart gave us, and Amazon sent a bunch of stuff. And so to be recipients of that is really awesome because they trust us, because they see the track record, but it's also because we are making sure that the kids are the recipients of the blessing that's there. Thinking about Cowtown skate shops, which obviously, Gage and I, we bought a bunch of gear from over the years and being skaters.
Support your local skate shop.
And they do a thing where it's Christmas Angel, and they do like a skateboard angel thing where they give skateboards away. Yeah. Mercy House has been a recipient of that for a few years, and to see full, complete skate decks go into the hands of new kids that are never had one, pumped up, man. Huge smile on their face as they hold onto the skateboard, and they're pumped out of their mind because skate deck is $100, and that's $100 that they definitely weren't going to get from their parents over a skateboard. And so to get them into something that they can do that doesn't require more, equipment or anything else, they can just go out on the sidewalk and skateboard. Super cool to see. And they got all sorts of toys, and we had food that was being cooked by people. These volunteer teams came, baseball team from Yonkers. We had, the wrestling team from Agua Fria. We have the different ones from different places coming and serving. So cool. It was very cool.
Awesome.
Jabo, you've been a part of it for a long time. You've helped out at Mercy House, all sorts of things. Man, what was your takeaway from being a part of Mercy House Christmas in the past?
It's been so cool, man. It's such a joy to see like the faces of all these kids that get presents, kind of like what Angus was talking about how this might be the only opportunity that they're actually going to get to receive a physical gift. And just the gratitude that happens within that whole process to see it brought to life through the generosity and donations and physical help of other people is nothing short of a miracle. And I think within working in that community and the fact that these events have just grown and grown and grown over the years, like even the back to school thing that we did this year, like
I
think
750 kids.
Exactly. Close to 1,000.
Got a backpack.
Which is insane.
Yeah, full of stuff.
That's
so
what I mean.
Cool.
Exactly. And just to see that echo throughout Christmas, which is also like a traditional gift-giving season, it's amazing, man. It's been such a joy to be a part of that and get to work within that process. I love doing it every year.
It's amazing. That's amazing. Really encouraging. We want to be the love of Christ. We want to be his hands extended. It's, it talks about in scripture, when you visited me in prison, when you gave me a cup of cold water in your name, when you gave me food, you're caring for the least of these. And that's what we want to be, is those that are not just bypassing people, but really meeting them in their need, but not substituting good works for also sharing the gospel. We want to do those in tandem, where we're sharing the good news and bringing good things to people wherever they are. Proverbs 14:31 says, "Whoever oppresses a poor man insults his maker, but he who is generous to the needy honors him." Which I love that. I think that's an amazing thing. Going away today, just with some rapid fire questions for everybody. Thinking about this, do you have a daily ritual that you do, a daily process by which you do things? Javo? You someone that does a daily ritual, like the way you get rest or the way you do certain things in the morning?
I don't really think so. I think the only thing that I would consistently do is I think when I get up, I instantly grab my phone. But also back to the thing that we talked about before with like the prayer as you get out of the house. That's something that I definitely do every day. But I think besides that, it doesn't necessarily matter the order in which I do things.
Okay.
It's just kind of like the convenience at which
the
I can do
checklist that you get done.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I need to be, let's say I wake up at like 9 a.m. and I need to be somewhere at like 10.
Yep.
But I need to like take a shower, brush my teeth, or like I don't know, like get dressed. It's just like the order in which all of that happens is kind of like variable. It's just at the earliest convenience. Because like if Shiloh or Amelia is in the bathroom, I have to wait. Then I'll just be like, okay, I'll do this or like eat or do something. But I don't have to do something in order at the exact same time.
I thought maybe being in your own spot with your own setup that you might have developed this ritual now for college or something. That's kind of.
I wish I could have, but I've woken up like either way too close to the bell or like even late sometimes. Like for some of these classes that sometimes you just gotta go and then figure it out later. But
it may be that your mother and I have called you to make sure that you're up for your classes and didn't pass your number that you're not allowed to skip.
Yeah, maybe a few times.
Angus, what do you think, man? You have a daily ritual you run?
Not well. In the morning when we get up the kids and all of that, it's pretty much the same every day. You know, I go get the kids up, and because I get to go in a little bit later, and the kids have to go in early with Annie as a teacher. She goes and I have her get ready, and then I get the kids ready. So that's pretty similar every day. Yeah. But then once they're out of the house, all bets are off. It's just ministry. It's kind of difficult to plan your day, you know, a lot.
It's all up in the air.
So a day like today, where you actually got up probably ahead of them because you were going out to get food for Mercy House. You're going to pick up food from our partners. What's it like when it throws your whole process out of whack?
We have to talk about it a day or two ahead of time. Just let them know, hey guys, and so we try and do prep in whatever way we can. And so I'll get up just a little bit earlier to help. I make the sandwiches and stuff in the morning just because it's easier. Yeah. Everybody's capable of it, but because I don't have anything to do, that's what I do. So I try and minimize my absence as much as possible. Yeah. Just because I want my wife to have a good morning.
So you're trying to mitigate the blowback of the
exactly. So we try and compensate in all those areas. Yeah.
That makes sense. Gage, what about you? Daily ritual? You got something like that?
You're
early guy.
Yeah. Usually stupid early. So I don't really get time with the family in the mornings. But the one thing that is like, I'm kind of like Javan was saying, I'm off on timing. Like the order in which I do things is usually pretty up in the air, depending on what the day or what I'm feeling like. Right. But the one thing, especially when I'm working, every single day, so like I'm up, everybody else in the house is still crashed out. Right. So I'll get up, I'll go do all my morning stuff, getting ready, again, order in which I do it, whatever. But before I leave the house, every single morning, I stop at the side of our bed and I give my wife a kiss on the forehead while she still sleeps every morning, and then I make my way out.
That's
like that's my one. Same sweet. Time every day before I leave the house. That's what I do.
Yeah, when my wife's sleeping, I also do. Yes, that me too. Yes, I also do.
We all do.
Angus, yes, you too as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't be kissing your roommate, Javan. Don't be giving your roommate like a. Did you see that guy with the tick? Did you see that guy with the tick on social media?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? I think we might have talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, just some random tick where like
he crossed himself.
Oh, he kept kissing. Yeah. Do the kisses. Yeah. Okay, now I'm tracking. Well, now that you've grown your hair out and you got your D'Artagnan mustache and beard flavor saver, do you also sword fight people in the morning? How's it work with that?
It depends on the day.
Keep the freedom of friends alive.
Yeah. I mean, our club's a little sporadic, you know. Like we try to meet Thursday evenings, but not everybody can always make it. Traffic.
Yeah. Liberté
stuff. Yeah.
Fraternité. You got this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right. Is there something that you make a list for? Do you make a list in your life?
Yeah.
What's one thing you make a list for?
Definitely groceries.
Okay.
Definitely groceries. Material for work.
Okay, that makes sense.
Always material for work. Want to make sure I don't miss stuff.
I like that. Anybody else? Different list? Something you do?
Ingredients list.
Ingredients list for cooking. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. Javo, any kind of list that you do other than those two?
Well, I have like an automated homework list, but it just depends on when due dates are for me. So
got you.
I just like knock them out in order of what it appears, and that's about it.
I think I'm similar to that in that most of my lists are all forecasting and forward planning for the future. So almost all my lists have to do with that. So I've found, because a lot of stuff that all my lists are about is like, hey, I'm going to forecast for the future. We have to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. So it's process list, really. So that's something that we build lists for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think your average screen time is per day? We'll go with Angus first.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It fluctuates. There are some days that I'm on a lot and other days where nothing.
Yeah.
So it just.
I think James going to check as you're doing the deal. What do you think, Gage? Your average screen time?
I'll probably average like anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Okay.
Sometimes maybe even more. And like sometimes also more of it's social media than not.
Okay, yeah.
And
sure.
then other times it's like, I have to be on my phone to be checking prints or taking phone calls, responding to people, looking up codes and standards for installation. So, I mean, it'll range 2 to 6 hours a day, depending on what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Javen, did you check yours?
Yeah,
What did it come through and say?
I think my average on general is probably close to 8, but I think it's been inflated over the last few days. It's at like 10, like almost 11. Dang. But it's because we had the Disney app open like all day for orders and like things like that. But a bunch of it's on Instagram though, because it's just idle scrolling and you don't have to have audio that's playing.
Doom scroll.
Exactly. So definitely guilty.
I'm gonna
of that.
preface my answer with this: I work off my phone all the time.
16.
I'm always running like a podcast or something going on in my ears, or checking things. All of our stuff is automated through our phones, meaning like we can do a lot of our work is remote or use the Google Drive and all that type of stuff. It says my daily average currently is 9 hours and 54 minutes, down 26% from last week.
Oh no way!
My average is 4 hours.
Okay, you're
that's
way
good.
less than I
That's good.
say. My average on average is a huge difference. That's crazy.
ridiculous.
I'm more like 12, 13, I guess, based on this numbers.
Yeah.
So, which is a pretty crazy deal.
See, I like to be out running around. I like to be doing
Disconnected
stuff.
from it.
Yeah. So
See, if we are, I still have like my phone in my pocket. I'm still taking phone calls. When I'm traveling in the truck, I'm usually making phone calls. I just redeem the time. So
yeah.
that's a really crazy. Yeah,
My
you're
daily average right now is 2 hours and 50 minutes,
Dang.
which is down 62% from last week.
Okay, so you're normally like 6
normally,
to 7.
Yeah, I'm normally like anywhere from 4 to 6, 2 to 6 hours. Hold on.
I'm not even gonna do it. For those who listen to audio, I was doing 6, 7. I'm
Instantly
sorry. I
what I thought of.
apologize. I want to apologize in advance.
And don't be sorry.
All right. Alongside of that, how much sleep do you get a day? How many hours?
Oh, I could look at that too.
Oh, you get your sleep hours. Yeah. I don't know if it's on here. So it's,
I don't think I
all right, Javen, you got an idea of sleep time?
I think during the semester it's between probably 5 to 7. But I think when I'm on break, it's probably like 9 to 10 because I have nothing else to do. So
I think that's probably accurate because you become like a bear who's going into hibernation for winter.
And it's also because I fall asleep at like 3 and I'll wake up at like noon or 1.
Yes.
And then I'll be like, oh, nice. It's like,
we have your mom and I called you both trying to make sure you're awake for things where we're like, dude, wake up.
That was a one-time incident, though. The reason why is because it was resting on a surface that wasn't touching my head.
No, that's true. We plug your phone in and move away from your head because, like, all the radio waves that are right by it.
It's fine, though. Like, my whole generation's cooked at this point, so it doesn't
we're trying
matter.
not to make – you're going to be the leader of the generation because you're not going to be cooked because we're moving your phone away from you.
We'll see.
Hey, guess what do you think, man? Sleep?
Yeah, so
What'd you come up with?
I've actually done a lot of stuff to try and improve my sleep and all of that stuff.
Cool.
So I've tracked it. So mine's I average about 7 hours.
That's good.
That's good.
Nice.
Same.
So,
Super
what do you
solid.
think, man?
5, 6.
Yeah, you 5, 6. I'm similar. I'm between 4 and 6.
Yeah.
On average, and just terrible sleeper that don't do well. I go to bed really late, so kind of by the time you are waking up is when I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And so we'll go to bed really late. The 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock hour often. I try to go to bed way in front of that, so I'm trying to be in bed before midnight many times, like physically in bed, and we'll turn my phone away from myself and all the other things, but I just have a really, really hard time shutting down.
Really?
Yep. Forever. It's always been a deal for me. I get it from my dad. I think 2 of my kids are in the same boat. Amelia, she's awesome. She'll just be like, it's time to go to sleep. And she'll go in and get rest, which I think is so cool. Meanwhile,
I love that.
Javen and myself and Shiloh, we are all like nocturnal vampires who will live until the morning.
Yeah.
And go live inside a cocoon.
Yep.
So it's crazy like that.
Yeah, life's way better that way, though.
Yeah, that's
Born on the wrong continent. We should have been born down in Latin America.
Or the Middle East, man.
Yeah,
Like,
just back when we lived there, things are open all night.
That's wild
It's
concept.
crazy. All right, down here, do you like handwritten or typed? Do you rather do a handwritten note or a typed note?
Handwritten all the way.
Handwritten, okay.
it just depends on what it's for.
Okay.
Speed and however I'm. But if it's something heartfelt, it's better to be handwritten.
Okay, Javo?
I love typed everything.
Typed everything.
It's way more efficient. Like we used to have to. They didn't allow electronics like for us in high school,
Right.
so we'd have to handwrite everything. I hated it so much because it would just you take so much extraneous time like trying to take everything on a piece of paper. If you can type it between like 60 to 80 words per minute, which I feel like is like fairly average for people that like grew up like around technology or use computers a lot,
Yep.
then you could take like exponentially more information down within that same time frame just on like a random Google Doc or whatever.
Sure.
So like switching from that to lectures where I like type everything, like professors physically go faster because they know you can take that much information down. It's way better. That's how you get through way more stuff.
I think you can go through things faster, but it doesn't mean that you take
Retain
it
it.
into your head faster. Because I think that they've proven that by writing it out, physically writing it out, because it does take time to do, it actually ingrains in you easier. So I agree with you for speed and ability to search it and all that stuff. Definitely typing it out as far as digital, but as far as like you actually retaining it, that's why they tell you to actually write out your flashcards because you're physically writing it down. It's a secondary piece of a process, which is interesting for us.
Yeah.
I think if you're writing a letter, handwritten's better.
Oh, yeah.
But I think like for all the other ins and outs of most stuff, I'm typed super fast on that stuff.
I do most of mine talk to
understand
text
that.
anyway.
Talk to
Yeah,
text.
that's
Yeah,
valid.
say that's some of it. You don't even type it at all.
I hate that.
You just talk.
I hate talk to text. Only reason why is because my dad will do talk to text, but he'll like have side conversations while still talking to text, or like he'll start talking to people in traffic.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
and it's
Okay.
it's all in the chat.
Yeah.
the message is like let's say 4 inches long, and only an inch and a half of that is him actually talking to me, but like that inch and a half is spread out throughout that, and so you gotta like it's all cryptic, you know.
You gotta decipher it.
There's a cipher that you need to get through the message. That's fun.
But at the same time, I could see the benefit of it, right? If you have people who can pay attention when they do it, and like their dialect is clear,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I think all of you guys have been instructing me when I've done it, and I'm also very hesitant to do it now because of just your punctuation can change what you mean.
Yeah.
And so I really try to watch like anything complex more than like, yeah, sounds good, or let's go with that, or something like that's really easy to respond. If it has any kind of tone to it, I need to actually sit down to type it back.
yeah.
Because I've messed that one up, and people are like, "What do you mean by that?" It's because the period was in the wrong spot.
Yep.
So I'm like, "Okay, yeah, for sure, I gotta watch it." All right, one word to leave the podcast. We'll start with Javan.
Christmas.
Angus.
Excited.
Okay, Gage.
Rewrite.
I'm gonna say Advent. Hey, thank you so much for being a part of the collective. We love you very much. Much love wherever you are.